And away we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. Hello, world. It is great to be with you again. I am Rob Brown. What's happening, y'all? Let's chat, shall we? Let's talk sports. Why not? Seems like a good time to do it. Glad to have you along for the ride. Directly across from me, he is the conductor of the symphony of sound that is the Rob Brown Show. He is the alpha and the omega of ESPN Upstate. He is the quarterback of this particular award-winning team. He is Colonel Grudge, #DadKicks, the content cash cow, Lonzo in charge of the broadcast. Happy Friday, Zoe.
He's a lumberjack and he's okay.
First off,
he works all night. He sleeps all day. He cuts down trees. He eats his lunch. He loves to pick wildflowers. I'm not going to go any further.
I have, in the spirit of it being 34 freaking degrees when I woke up this morning, I have decided to embrace my inner sports hipster today. The flannel has been donned. The Carhartt beanie has been sported. And, of course, to tie it all together, the beard and the thick glasses. I am an IPA away from being the hipsterest sports hipster in the world right now.
I was going to ask if you went to Starbucks, but you went a different direction. You went evening and I went morning. My bad.
Evening? Why start so late?
Okay.
Why start so late?
To each his own, I suppose.
It is afternoon. That is acceptable beer drinking time. On a sports weekend, ladies and gentlemen. It's National Championship weekend, except for it's on Monday, not the weekend. Can we move the championship game to the weekend, please? Can we please move it to the weekend?
To what day? Or if you say Sunday, then that throws your Super Bowl argument out. Okay, yeah, I'd be fine with
Saturday.
That. That's when games are normally played.
And the Super Bowl should be on Saturday, too.
No, because NFL games are played on Sunday and Monday and Thursday and sometimes Saturday. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But sometimes.
NFL games are played on Sundays, except for tomorrow when they're played on Saturday and have playoff consequences on the line. Other than that, yeah, no, that's a great argument. Other than the fact that they're not at all. Keegan says, are we starting an emo band?
I don't think I fit in that band, but, I may have something in the office that would make me fit in.
I need the national championship game on the weekend. I need it to not be on Monday and starting at 8:00 at night, right? That game's ending at 11:30 Monday night. And Lonzo, I have to be out of bed by like 10 a.m. on Monday. Do you understand how difficult that is for me?
Well, yeah, actually I do. Because there are some days when you're just not here yet.
It's from my mom.
Your mom is awesome, by the way.
She has her moments. I'm throwing off my game. I tried something different today. I don't think if it's working because I don't have the bangs to stick out of the front of the beanie to work the right way. Go to the Facebook stream, facebook.com/ESPN Upstate. If you would also like to make fun of how I look directly to my face.
Listen, the bangs are perfect height for cutting down trees. If you get any further down, it's going to get in front of your eyesight, and that could cause you to lose a limb or a digit.
Or a groin.
Yeah, that's not a way to go with the chainsaw, for sure.
No, we're not. Busy day on the broadcast today. We have got, coming up at 1:20, we'll talk to Kevin Marshall of FCS Nation, which you can hear on weekends right here on ESPN Upstate. We're going to break down the FCS championship game is this weekend as well. Montana State, North Dakota State getting together one more time. Again, these two are certainly familiar with each other over the past couple of years. They've met each other in the playoffs multiple times. We're going to talk to Kevin Marshall and get a full breakdown of that game coming up later on in the show. We've also got, of course, our playoff situations for the National Football League. We're going to walk you through what the results and consequences of this weekend will be. We think we're going to get a little bit into soccer later. The Ballon d'Or nominations are out for the world's best football player on both the men's and women's side. We'll talk about those coming up in just a few minutes from now.
Ballon d'Or?
Ballon d'Or is French.
Ballon d'Or.
BALLOND'Or.
Okay.
Ballon d'Or.
Okay. Ballon d'Or.
I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. Is Seward given to the best soccer player in the world?
Can you speak French while wearing flannel? Is that, I don't know. I guess if you're in Canada, never mind.
It's where my people come from, technically. We've got to get into the Ballon d'Or. We got to get into, obviously, there's some more news from the Antonio Brown situation. Bruce Arians spoke out yesterday and discussed a little bit about his perspective on how it played out. We'll give you Bruce Arians' side of the story coming up. And, of course, a breakdown of the further breakdown of the national championship game. But before we get into any of that, we got to get into this.
Let's do lunch.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented.
You guys are here.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here? Lunch!
The text I just got says, Rob, what are you wearing? Can you hear through that beanie? First off, person who sent this to me, I'm wearing something that I'm relatively sure your fiance would approve of. Second off, why is everybody mad at how good I look today? Why is everybody mad at me for looking this dapper, dashing even?
I'm okay with it because it's not pink or purple, so we're good.
I wear purple all the time.
Yeah, I know, but that's the whole point. It's a wonderful change of pace for you on a Friday.
Another texter just says he looks like the great value version of Pete Wentz. You know who said that to me? My girlfriend. My actual partner just told me I look like great value Pete Wentz. So Friday's going great. We're off to a killer start so far.
Didn't expect any of this when you got up this morning,
None.
did you?
You know, I threw it on and I said some people are going to have jokes. I know that because it
And
is
the hand.
have jokes. Diesel's going to have jokes.
No, Diesel will be like, man, you look good today.
Diesel's going to be like, "Ooh, hashtag nailing it." I did not expect to get called great value Pete Wentz by my own lady friend. Just good job, me. Texter just texted in. Today's going to be a day, Zoe. The text we just got says, my son is 4'10", 95 pounds. Went fisticuffs with a classmate yesterday that is every bit of 6'4", 250 and held his own. Proud Poppy here. Your kid's 4'10", 95 pounds and went with a dude bigger than me and held his. I'm 6'3", 250. He's 6'4", 250. And your son at 4'10", 95 went with him?
Hey, congrats. Hopefully no one was seriously hurt, and I hope he understands and probably does leverage. Just because you're so much taller than someone, that doesn't mean you can't get knocked out.
4'10", 95 pounds.
Hey, you laying on the ground, I'm taller than you at 4'10". That's all I'm saying.
Right, but you at 95, there's not enough mass to get me on the ground short of making him lose a groin.
When I first, because that takes a lot of the oomph out of you. When I first met my brother-in-law, who's no longer with us, he's was 7'4", 400 pounds.
7'4"?
Yeah, and he said something to me and was kind of threatening. And I said, "Listen, man, I take your knees out. You're laying on the ground. I'm taller than you. It's not a matter. It's not a matter of this one's taller than me. This one's bigger than me. It's skill level and how tough you are. And obviously that kid, he's got it.
I need video evidence of this.
See, I believe, but that's me. I'm a believer.
4'10", 95, and you scrap with a dude 6'4", 250. Now, in fairness, he doesn't say he won. He said he held his own. He didn't say he won. He said he held his own.
You know, with the height differential there, I would say headbutt.
Anything short of getting KO'd
No.
is holding your own there.
Headbutt to the groin is perfectly acceptable and right there. I mean, it's just right there.
Dude, for the record, I'm 6'3", 250 and would not fight a guy 6'4", 250. All right? And I know I don't know if I can't fight. I've never done it before because it sounds miserable. But if this is true, good on your kid, man. And also, does he play
I don't like that.
Safety?
If this is true stuff, the people in the text line are completely truthful in everything that they send to us.
I mean, I'm going to elect to believe him because it's a great story. But, man, if you can't find security cam footage of that somewhere and send it to me, I'm going to be disappointed. Item number 1 on the lunch breakdown to 3 things you have to know before you go start talking sports with your friends, family, coworker, or the dog, whoever you share your lunch break with. These 3 items shall be the scuttlebutt. Let's start with item number 1. We mentioned it a moment ago, but our finalists for the World's Best Soccer Player Award, the Beyond d'Or, are out now. The Best FIFA Men's Player of the Year award is down to 3 players. Liverpool forward Mohamed Salah, last year's winner Robert Lewandowski, and the Paris Saint-Germain forward, you may know him as Lionel Messi, are the 3. Okay. All right. Texter says, I'm the proud poppy. Forgot to mention they are teammates on the wrestling team, and my son is a year away from being a brown belt in karate.
There you go. So well on his way to being an MMA star because he's got the martial arts and he's got the wrestling.
1095 now. Brown belts what? That's like right below black, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
And brown right below black.
Again,
like the next step.
As I pointed out earlier, it's all a matter of leverage, and martial arts teach you that. So
I'd say I feel like a 95-pound person could run into me full speed and it wouldn't matter what they did. They're not taking me down.
I beg to differ. Flying headbutt,
It's 95. I can physically move 95 pounds.
All right. Let's have Stone Man come in here and run and jump at you.
You know what? I would accept the challenge of giving Stone Man a running start down the hallway, and I bet $1 he can't get me to the ground.
It'll take him a while to get down the hallway with those little legs.
And he wears flip-flops like a weirdo when it's cold. All right. So those are your 3. Of course, Lionel Messi helped Argentina win the Copa America, the first major trophy for the Argentines since 93. Robert Lewandowski won the European Golden Shoe, 41 goals, setting a new Bundesliga record in Germany. And Mohamed Salah enjoyed an exceptional 2021. He's the leading goal scorer in the Premier League thus far with 16 goals to his credit thus far. Item number 2 on the lunch breakdown. The FCS championship game is upon us. Montana State and North Dakota State. It has been a historically volatile year at the FCS level. 2 seasons have played out since last February. Sam Houston topped South Dakota State to win a makeshift spring season, and then a mostly normal season unfolded in the fall. We had some big conference realignment, where powerful programs like James Madison and Sam Houston have moved up and out, Jacksonville State as well. But it all comes down to a pair of teams who are very familiar with each other. Of course, it is North Dakota State playing for its 9th national championship in 11 years. The Bison face a familiar foe in Montana State, a team they beat on their way to the 2018 and 19 titles. Now, technically, this is a matchup of the number 2 and the number 8 seeds in the FCS players, but there is no doubt about it that these are the best 2 teams. North Dakota State fell only to rival and other semifinalists South Dakota State in the regular season. They beat 13 other opponents by an average of 35-10. Montana State also had 1 loss, and it was only to FBS Wyoming to start the regular season. I lied, they have 2 losses. They also fell to rival Montana towards the end, but in the 12 games that they did win, they averaged a 33-12 margin of victory. These teams' defenses rank first and second in scoring defense and second and third in the FPS SP Plus rankings. We're going to talk with Kevin Marshall of FCS Nation Radio coming up at 1:20 about that game. And item number 3 on the lunch breakdown, and obviously we're going to get back into this later on. Reports coming out from The Athletic today. The Athletic, of course, yesterday bought by the New York Times for $550 million. They have been breaking news for the last couple of years, and this is the most recent part, as the Carolina Panthers, sitting at 5-11 and last in the NFC South, prepare to take on a 12-4 Tampa Bay team who lead that same division. The Carolina Panthers are, Lonzo, officially open to offers for running back Christian McCaffrey. He appears to be now on the trade block. Of course, he's only played 10 games over the past 2 seasons, and he, of course, has only $44 million remaining on his contract over the next 4 seasons. But they're willing to hear an offer. Problem is, for a guy that's played 10 games out of the last 33, technically 32, I guess, for a guy that's played 10 out of 32 games, so he's playing at, after this weekend, 1 in every 3 games do you get Christian McCaffrey, and you are having to pair him with $44 million over 4 seasons. I suspect you are not going to get a ton of offers back from Christian McCaffrey, but we will find it. The dude was the league's premier do-it-all player until the injury bug bit him 2 years ago, and it's been all downhill since then. But for right now, with most of a $64 million deal and what looks like a rebuild of a rebuild season ahead of the Panthers, who were finished the 2021 campaign on a 7-game losing streak, unless they find a way to upset the Buccaneers this weekend, 10-22 under Matt Rule looks like it's going to be starting all over again. And McCaffrey may not be a part of it, Lonzo, which is what I've been telling you guys for the better part of the last 3
I
weeks.
think the question is, if you can afford it, do you want McCaffrey on your team? Are you willing to take a chance? If McCaffrey comes back and he's completely healthy for an entire season, and I know he hasn't done that in a while, but if he does, he's one of the best running backs in the league. And someone's going to take a risk and do that.
Not for $44 million for 4 years. Not for 44 over 4 years. Ain't happening. Sorry. You might get you like a 3rd-string offensive line and a 7th-round draft pick somewhere for him.
So what you're saying is he's going to be with the Panthers for years to come.
Yes. He's either going to be a Panther or the Panthers are going to get a very low return on investment for him. Very low. Because effectively it would, and by the way, still probably going to have to pay a chunk of that contract money, because teams are looking at this and going, I'm not dealing with the injuries, man. The guy plays 1/3 of every game. 1/3 of the games. That's unbelievable.
Yeah,
that's why I don't have friends.
I've already retweeted it.
This is what.
So is your girlfriend. I normally won't, but that's just too good to. Although
Keegan has just tweeted a picture of a very good-looking bearded man wearing the same shirt and beanie as me, and then my picture next to it, and captioned it, "What you order on Wish versus what you got." Why do I have friends again? Why do I have friends again?
Make sure you follow Rob Brown on Twitter at The Rob Brown Show so you can see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna retweet it too,
because I know he is.
Because
you
I'm
can't
a
help
masochist. It is what it is.
If not, Lonzo and Word, I just retweeted it so you can follow me and you can see it.
You know, I thought, try something new, Rob. Branch out, Rob.
I would tweet it from
your hockey jersey and hoodies life, Rob. Try something young and fresh. And what do I get? What do I get for it? What do I get for just trying something new?
Sorry, I would tweet it from the ESPN Twitter account, but personal stuff shouldn't be on that. It's about the station.
I'm doing it. I don't care. Texter said, all right, so we have an update from the texter. It says that he says, I didn't say it was a fist fight When he said wrestling team, I thought he meant like a wrestling match. He said, I didn't say he won the fist fight, but he held his own. I'll accept that. Good on your kid, man. Good on your kid. 4'10", went up against 6'4", 250 and held his own in a fist fight.
Hey, if there's no backing down, there's no fetal position, there's none of that. You took some blows, but you dealt some. There you go.
My mother now says, bet you won't try something new for a while, LOL.
See, I disagree. I bet he will.
Bet. Let's take a break.
Are you open for suggestions? Because, if someone wants to,
I wish somebody would have suggested me not to wear this today.
What should Rob wear next week? If you are a local clothing store and you're willing to,
clearly help me.
Yeah,
I need it.
Yeah, there you go. We're open for sponsorship, and
I will happily endorse you with when I wore clothes from XYZ Fashion, my girlfriend didn't make fun of me, which is about the best
that is a great.
When I wore clothes from XYZ Fashion, my girlfriend, mother, producer, and young man who's one of my best friends in the upstate didn't all immediately start making great value Pete Wentz jokes about me.
Well, there's more jokes to come, and definitely more people than just the ones that you mentioned.
Texter says, hold on, did I miss out on Make Fun of Rob Friday? No, it's happening right now, Texter. Let's have at it.
We still have 2 hours and 35 minutes.
Bring the jokes. Bring the jokes. You know what? Just bring it all. I'm here for it. I look good and I know it. Take me to break. Rob, Lonzo, it's the Fall Out Boy Sports Show on ESPN Upstate. Bunch of jerks. Bunch of jerks.
You guys are so mean. Please keep them coming. I admit, I'm the first. I started it, but somebody else would have got there before me, so I might as well be the first one.
On Saturday, Charlotte's 20-19 overall this season. They pounded the Pistons Wednesday, 140-111. Big win for the Pelicans last night, an upset over the Golden State Warriors, 101-96 the final. Brandon Ingram with 32 points and 11 rebounds. Classic Rock 101.1 airs Carolina Panthers football every Sunday. Carolina kickoff starts 2 hours before kickoff. That's the Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders on ESPN Upstate.
ESPN Upstate is your home for the 2022 College Football National Championship game. All the chips are on the line as the number 3 Georgia Bulldogs try to take a bite out of the top-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. The Dogs are out for revenge. Saban tries to further cement his college football legacy. Who will win out in this rematch of SEC Titans? The coverage starts this Monday night at 7. The Dogs versus the Tide. The College Football National Championship game plays exclusively on ESPN Upstate.
Do you really want to go through another year with that awful joint pain? Don't do it. Resolve right now to get yourself moving again for 2022. Hey, it's Charlie James. It's time to call QC Kinetics. Non-surgical regenerative treatments for joint pain. We're talking lasting results using natural biologics. No surgeries, no pain meds, no steroids, and no downtime. This is really exciting stuff. Regenerative restorative treatments that actually encourage your body to heal itself.
I don't know who Pete Wentz is, but Rob stole that shirt from the Brawny Man. And the GOAT has arrived to my defense. Thank you, Miss Lisa. You're the best. Yeah, Lonzo. You guys are mean. Keep them coming, said Lonzo when I was out of the room. You've been tattled on. Not that he wouldn't say that when I was in the room.
I don't care. I also took credit for being the first one because somebody else would have got to it before me, so I might as well go first. And who doesn't want to sing "I'm a Lumberjack" on the air? I mean,
This report is sponsored by DuckDuckGo. Protect your privacy for free with DuckDuckGo. I booked football tickets for my husband's birthday, and now I'm in a football bubble. All I see online are articles and ads about football. downloaded DuckDuckGo and saw a difference right away. Take back your privacy online with DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
We're not here to take part. We're here to take over. Named the best sports talk show in South Carolina. ESPN Upstate.
Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. This is the Star Award-winning show with the best-looking host in this building, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. It's a good thing I have some levels of self-confidence. Otherwise, I would have destroyed myself. Thanks to the comments coming in. All right.
You know, he could very easily take the beanie off and remove the overshirt, and suddenly, you know, and I'm sure there's a hat in the office. But no, he's sticking it out because he's committed to the lumberjack look.
Hey, everyone, come and see how good I look. Facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, Twitter.com/ESPN Upstate, or search The Rob Brown Show on YouTube. You can watch the live stream, join in. It's
also
fun.
It is fun.
With air quotes.
Why you want to rat me out, yo? Why you want to tell Rob what I said when he was out of the room? Now I'm worried that you're going to tell him all the other things I said while he was out of the room.
I'm going to have to watch my own live stream when I step out of the room during breaks. Rich says, Rob, just pull in Antonio Brown and walk off the set. Don't take this boat.
Hey, you've got a defender on the stream.
Yep, Miss Lisa.
No, you got another one.
Oh, and Nolan stepped in. It's a fantastic. Yes, it is a good-looking flannel. Thank you, Nolan. Thank you.
It's very pristine.
It is.
When you go out in the woods later, though, you're gonna break that thing in.
Nobody wearing a hat like this goes out in the woods. We go to a tap room after work. All right, let's get to some sports and not just spend the entire 3 hours making fun of how I look, shall we? So Christian McCaffrey on the trade block. He is sitting on $44 million worth of 4 years of contract and has played 10 games in the last 2 seasons overall. And remember, at least 2 of those games, he left early due to injury, so he hasn't even really played a full 10 games. Why are the Panthers trying to trade him? You have to answer the question why they wouldn't be, right? Why wouldn't they be? You're bad right now, unfortunately. And in being bad, you've got to start making moves to clear out cap space, which you don't have, and roster spots. And if a guy's playing 1 out of every 3 games, he's not valuable to the roster, right? If we were looking at a backup left tackle who played 10 games, but he was making half of what Christian McCaffrey is making, that would be an easy cap casualty. That'd be an easy decision to make a move. The only difference between that situation and this one with Run CMC is that with Run CMC, you're hanging on to what he was. And I don't know if CMC can get back to being what he was. I don't know if CMC can be the dude that he was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, before the injury started kicking his butt. But I know that the Panthers don't have a lot of room to take a gamble on that, right? When there's the Jonathan Taylors and the Alvin Kamaras, although Kamara hasn't been as effective this year. But I think that's because teams haven't had to drop as many into coverage without Drew Brees back there. But he's not Jonathan Taylor. He's not Alvin Kamara. He's none of these cats right now. He's an oft-injured running back who can stay healthy and has sunk your salary cap. I didn't like the contract when you gave it to him when he wasn't plagued by the injury bug. I know he's incredibly valuable when he's healthy. But he's the type of guy that you can pay that much when you're good and also he's available. But effectively, you would be paying 44 over 4 years, 44 mil over 4 years, $11 million a year to bank on your team doctors getting his injuries right and getting him healthy. And I got news for you. They have not done it. They haven't done it yet. And I'm not saying, they got bad trainers up there, although I have talked to a lot of Panthers fans who tell me that they're very disappointed with the training staff in Carolina, which I get. But there's only so much that can be done, man. There's only so much that can be done. The dude is a cinder block attached to a chain, attached to the ankle of a drowning Panthers franchise right now. If Christian McCaffrey's fully healthy, that's a 7-win team minimum. They got 3 games. They win against New Orleans last weekend if CMC's available. They went against Atlanta in Atlanta a couple of weeks ago, probably. It's an entirely different franchise, but you can't trust CMC to get healthy now. I remember back in week 1 of the NFL season, our first Carolina kickoff show up at Wings Etc. in Bowling Springs, South Carolina, which, by the way, we will be live this Sunday with the final Carolina kickoff show of the season at Wings Etc. Grill and Pub in Boiling Springs. Come on by. I'd love to see you guys before the season ends. We'll be live at 2:30 this afternoon. And I went on the air and I said, a lot of the future of this franchise relies on CMC being healthy. But I just don't know if he can. And I had multiple people text me and go, Rob, he's going to be fine. He's had the off season. He's good enough that he rarely takes big hits. And he just hasn't been. Just hasn't been. This is the right move. This is the only move, unfortunately, is to try to trade him away. And recognize that what you're getting back in return, if you can find a partner, what you're getting back in return is not a direct on-the-field product. What you're getting back in return is clearing out some salary cap space so you can make moves to get guys that will more consistently contribute to the Carolina Panthers organization. Because he's not. And it's not his fault. I'm not beating up on Christian McCaffrey. He seems like a genuinely nice guy. But it is a business. And at the end of the day, ROI is the only thing that matters. And you are getting a negative ROI out of Christian McCaffrey right now. You must trade him. It's not an option. And you must recognize that when you trade him, you're not going to see a big haul back, right? You're not going to get the multiple starting caliber offensive linemen that you want for him. You're going to get cap space, and that's about it. Maybe a couple of late-round draft picks. But you're not going to see things that you can go, okay, this is going to immediately translate to better play on the field. Here's why I'm concerned about it. What is the decision-making process as far as filling out the roster look like for Carolina the last few years anyway? Giving them more money and more draft capital does not inherently mean that all of the sudden you're going to start filling gaps with good players. I've already told you the number one concern I have for the Panthers right now is less about what's on the field and more about what's in the front office. You're giving more bullets to Matt Rule. You're giving more bullets to Scott Fitterer. You're giving more bullets to David Tepper, a trio of guys that have not made good decisions with the bullets they've had over the past 3 years. The problems for the Panthers begin and end in the front office. Begin and end in the front office. End of story. Yes, trading McCaffrey is the right thing to do here. But unfortunately, unless there are better decisions coming out of the front office, it's not going to help you as much as you'd think that guy should in moving him off the roster.
Unless you believe in him like you did when you paid the money and maybe go out and spend money and get an offensive line, because maybe he stays healthy if you have an offensive line. Maybe you can keep your quarterback upright if you have an offensive line. Maybe there's a lot of things you could do if you just go out and, get an offensive line.
I mean, easy to say, right? No problem. Go out and get one.
Again, I pointed this out, I think last week. Kansas City got rid of their entire offensive line, brought an entirely new offensive line in. Guess what? They're in the playoffs. They're the 1 or 2 seed, depending on what happens this weekend in the AFC. They went and got an entirely new offensive line. It is possible to do. You can replace that entire thing, bring in guys, work with them, and it'll work.
And I agree with you. But that is a perfect illustration of why I've said that the problem with the Panthers is not just Matt Rule, and it's not just the roster they've assembled. It's the front office guys. It's the decision-making guys. That's where these problems are coming from. Because, yes, other teams have made the moves that Carolina has to make now and have come up aces in doing so. Carolina hasn't, and I don't see why to expect that's going to change now. Texter on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307 says, McCaffrey never got hurt until Rule and Brady ran him up the middle every play. Yeah, I agree with you, Brett. I agree with you. I feel like McCaffrey was misused. I feel like treating McCaffrey like a power running back to run ISOs between the guard and the tackle is a textbook way to get your guy banged up. It's not saying you never run him up the middle. Of course you have to keep honest. If the only time he ever touches the ball, he's off tackle, then it gets pretty easy to scheme against 22. But I would be willing to bet, and I haven't done the research on this, though I probably should. I'd be willing to bet over the past 2 years, McCaffrey took more snaps between center and tackle than he had at any point in his football career ever before. But he is injury prone now. And it seems like every time he comes back from one injury, he gets injured again somewhere else. It is what it is. It is what it is. Texter on the Preferred Home Services text line says, Lonzo, none of the Chiefs' new offensive line were from Temple or Baylor, so they weren't options for us.
Probably a pretty good point there. Yeah.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. We got college football to talk about. Kevin Marshall of FCS Nation joins us at 1:20 to break down the FCS National Championship game. Should be a good one and a whole lot more. I'm Rob. He's the great one, Lonzo. We are the best-looking sports talk radio show in the Upstate, the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. Roger, I need to. I got to do a little more research on that because I'm also genuinely curious. I had to tell you, the only regret I have about the hat, of which there aren't many, once the hat's on, you're pretty much committed to the hat for the day. There's no removing it because it does this. There's no like, let me ditch the hat halfway through the day. You're pretty much stuck with it.
Interview for that vacancy next week. NBA Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo probable against the Nets tonight. He was out the last game with a non-COVID related illness. 7:30 Eastern, ESPN TV. WNBA, Sue Bird announcing she'll return to the Seattle Storm next season, putting off retirement for at least one more year.
From the Ingles Market Studio, this is ESPN Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, ESPN Upstate.
An Odyssey station.
So much of life these days is rushing around from one place to another. I think you should take a fourth spin. Are you serious? Sometimes you just want to enjoy the journey.
I was going to bring you my axe in there, but it's not lumberjacky enough. It's too Warcraft.
Cereal, 2 for $5. Ingles, low prices, love the savings. You probably wouldn't leave thousands of dollars on the table at a diner. Why leave thousands on the table with your tax return? Jackson Hewitt will help make sure you don't. This year, there are thousands of dollars worth of new tax credits. Your Jackson Hewitt Tax Pro will help you track down.
I didn't check out the footwear. I don't know.
Just black tennis shoes today.
Okay, all right. I just didn't know.
I don't have black hiking boots yet,
I
unfortunately.
was looking at. Did you see what Dabo to Jacksonville sent?
Do what now?
Oh, I just saw what his at Rob hates Clemson. That's funny. Dabo to Jacksonville.
Keegan says, did you see the Jags are interviewing Bill O'Brien? I did, and that would be the most Jacksonville hire of all time. Hey, let's do what Houston did when they were in the same spot and see if it works out differently for us.
We're adding new music to our artist series. New disciplines like boxing. Fight your way through. Let's make it count. So many new workouts to try on and off.
Let's go, Peloton family.
There's always something new that keeps you motivated. For a limited time, get a $550 value on the Peloton Bike Plus. $300 off plus free delivery and setup.
We have an upstate golf in the next break.
Okay.
Nut butter mixed nuts make it perfect. Two great tastes, one delicious ball. Very sweet and salty nut bar today.
More than the sport, the ups and downs, the sports talk, the mouth on
You can't do that though. You can't. It just doesn't work.
Giga says, did you see the Jags are interviewing Bill O'Brien? Yes, I did. And you wonder why Jags fans are going to the game this weekend dressed like clowns.
So is Bill O'Brien a step up from Urban Meyer for you?
Yes, in that he is not actually made of toxic material. But then again, Bill O'Brien didn't exactly have players fawning all over themselves to protect him in Houston either. Remember, the whole thing with Bill O'Brien in Houston fell apart. So the most Jacksonville thing ever is absolutely going to be, hey, let's bring in the guy who could not save the franchise in Houston during his time as head coach, and see if he can do better in a worse situation. He can't. But good luck. All right, 844-GSP-ESPN, the preferred home services text line is open at 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read them on the air. A lot of quarterbacks transferring yesterday. Did you catch that? A lot of quarterbacks transferring. Texas A&M quarterback Zach Calzada has committed to Auburn out of the college football transfer portal. He was the former A&M starting man. Is a sophomore. He took over for an injured Haynes King, started 10 games this season, went for 2185, 17 touches, 9 picks, and is the only quarterback this year to have beaten number 1 Alabama. Threw for 285 and 3 touchdowns on 21 of 31 in a 41-38 shootout on October 9th. Of course, Auburn found out just days ago that their quarterback, Bo Nix, would be transferring out. He is now with Oregon. So Calzada will show up and compete with TJ Finley for the starting Tigers job. Of course, TJ Finley, a former LSU transfer who has come in to the Auburn program, threw 6 touchdowns, 1 interception for Auburn this year, started 3 games after Bo Nix went down with an injured ankle 3 weeks ago. Auburn hired former Seattle Seahawks quarterbacks coach Austin Davis as their new offensive coordinator and QB coach. And Davis, a guy who has significant NFL experience, a guy who has coached Russell Wilson, a guy who has been sought after for his ability to coach quarterbacks, shows up at Auburn, and all of a sudden, one of the most sought after quarterbacks in the portal, Zach Calzada, also shows up at Auburn. One of the consequences of the transfer portal moving forward, I've told you guys, how do you win in 2021? We talked about this yesterday with Shane Beamer. I said Shane Beamer getting Spencer Rattler shows that there is a new mentality that must be taken for recruiting moving forward. And that mentality is the two things that are the most important now are A, building relationships with players, right? I heard the long thing. We played the audio from Kirk Herbstreit earlier who said, if I had advice for players, my advice would be to build relationships, right? Don't go seeking playtime. Don't go seeking accolades or money. Build relationships because those relationships will help you out throughout your life as you move forward. And I believe that as well. Relationships don't help you quite out as much quite as money do, but that's another conversation for another time. When you adopt the mentality that it's about building relationships, what comes along with that? What comes along with that is, in order to foster a relationship, you have to accept the mentality that relationships are two-sided, right? A one-sided relationship is not a relationship. Relationships have to have them flow both ways. So not only student to university, but university to student. Zach Calzada is a guy that probably has mid to late round NFL potential if he can be sharpened up by an NFL QB coach over the next year. So Auburn goes and finds a coach with NFL experience, a guy who's coached Russell Wilson, a guy who knows what it takes to play at the next level. They bring him in as their QB coach. And a transfer quarterback with NFL potential suddenly decides that Auburn's the place that he wants to land. That's not a coincidence, guys. That's not a coincidence. Auburn, in this case, said, all right, we need to be able to provide a resource here that makes us attractive to Zach Calzada. What kind of resource can we come up with? And the resource that they came up with was, what if we bring in a guy that can absolutely say, I know what it's going to take to get you ready for the next level? I'd be willing to bet $1 to a donut that Calzada chose Auburn, in part at least, because now they have a voice in the QB room who can say, I definitively know what it takes to coach quarterbacks at the next level. I definitively know what it takes to get you ready to do what Russell Wilson has done because I was his coach the last few years. If you're a guy like Zach Calzada that's walking on the edge of being an NFL draft pick, that is a resource for you, a big-time resource for you. And not all coaching is great coaching. We had somebody on the text line earlier this week say, well, every school provides a resource in coaching, and you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But not all coaching is good coaching, and not all good coaching is good coaching for an individual player. Different players with different talents and different skill sets at different positions can be coached differently, sometimes better, sometimes worse by different guys. So to say to a quarterback with NFL aspirations, hey, turns out our quarterbacks coach is a former NFL quarterbacks coach who has worked with a successful franchise, who has worked with a multi-time Pro Bowl quarterback at the level. If there is a dude who knows what it takes to get you to that next level, it's the guy we have. That's a resource provided by the school to the player, and it may have just won them a new starting quarterback, and one who knocked off Alabama last year. And what school wants a quarterback that is capable of knocking off Alabama more than the team they squared off against in the Iron Bowl this year? It's a great move. It's a great move. Let's take a break. We'll come back, wrap up hour number 1 after this. Texas says, look on the Mr. Bright side. The Panthers can't hire Bill O'Brien if he's in Jacksonville. Good one, Texter. Great one. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. The 2022 Upstate Golf Cart is on sale, ladies and gentlemen. If you're a golfer like I am, or you got a golfer in your family, this is the perfect gift for them. If they got a birthday in the next 365 days, which all but like a few of you do, go ahead and get this gift now, right? And I'm not saying you got to wait for it to be their birthday to give it to them. No. Instead, get the gift now and say, hey, I know your birthday's in August, but this lets you play golf year round. So happy 7-month early birthday, friend. I want you to enjoy a year full of golf on me. It is a fantastic gift, no matter what the gift is for, but you got to get yours now because supplies are limited. They will go. 18 holes of golf at 10 of the best golf courses in the upstate can be yours for just $99. But you got to go to upstategolfcard.com, upstategolfcard.com to get yours now. It's a 2022 Upstate Golf Card.
Here's the Upstate's most trusted forecast on ESPN Upstate. Mostly sunny skies this afternoon, high 44. Tonight, mostly clear, low near 24. By Saturday, sunshine, high 43 degrees. Sunday, a chance for rain showers, foggy, high 52. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Buczynski on ESPN Upstate. Currently, it's 40.
Ryan Radke here from Westwood One with a preview of Sunday Night Football. Week 18 wraps up the regular season in Sin City with a primetime matchup of AFC West playoff contenders, the Las Vegas Raiders and the Los Angeles Chargers.
Look on the Mr. Bright side. That's a good joke. I'm mad because it's a good joke.
Sunday night at 7:30. The NFL plays here on ESPN Upstate. Except for, it's an okay song. It's not as great as everyone makes it out to be, and now it's stuck in my head.
We play it, and it's a banger every time. The bar pops off every time.
Maybe it's because maybe I don't entirely get the song because it sounds to me like dude somehow is a voyeur on his ex-girlfriend and is able to see that she's messing around with somebody else. So are the cameras involved? I mean, how is he able to see all this to describe it?
Because he's following them.
Right. So he's a stalker.
And also, I don't think it's is it an ex-girlfriend? Or is it just a girl he has an infatuation with? Not okay either way.
I was going to say either way.
Very creepy song.
Yeah, it is.
Definitely by a stalker.
It's not even subtle about it either. So,
But she's touching his chest. But she's touching his chest now. He takes off her dress now. Stop watching! Stop watching right now!
That's my point. How does he see all that?
And now I'm falling asleep, and she's calling a cab while he's having a smoke, and she's taking a drag. Now they're going to bed, and my stomach is sick. And first off, she's calling a cab, and 2 lines later, now they're going to bed. I feel like maybe it's just being made up in his head as he tells this story.
So he's imagining.
Watching them. Maybe he's like
imagining.
I'm gonna go with that because it's less creepy.
We could go online and look at the meaning of the song, like those are ever right.
The Rob Brown Show, wrapping up hour number 1. This is ESPN Upstate. So you remember I guess it's been a couple of months now. And Markieff Morris, remember when Nikola Jokic just absolutely shoulder charged Keith Morris? Morris was playing ticky-tack, fouling basketball because he's a cheap shot artist. And finally, he messed with an Eastern European brick wall. Not advisable. And Nikola Jokic decided he about had enough of that. Nikolai shoulder charged him. absolutely popped him and put him on the ground. Markieff Morris, since that, has missed 30 straight games for the Heat since he got whiplash from the scuffle. And by scuffle, I mean a couple of ticky-tack fouls. And then Jokic decided that he wanted to earn a helmet sticker that day, so he pancaked him center court. Markieff Morris has missed 30 games since then. He just tweeted out, Lonzo, "Ain't boat wild about it. It's a real injury. Imagine having a 300-pound sloppy fat boy run full speed and make direct contact with your spine. I'll be back soon," like I said. A 300-pound sloppy fat boy, end quote, is what he called Nikolai. I just like to go on the record and say, I'd love to be a 300-pound sloppy fat boy if that's the definition of what Nikolai Jokic is.
Yeah, and how does that make you look any better? So you're saying you didn't get put on the IR by some guy who was in shape. You got put on IR by a sloppy fat boy. What's that make you?
Yeah. Are you kidding me? If that was me, I'd be like, ain't boat wild about it. It's a real injury. Imagine having a 300-pound Serbian bulldozer run right through your spine. I'm playing it up like he's Arnold from Conan the Barbarian.
Absolutely.
300-pound sloppy fat boy, he calls the hardest rebounder in basketball.
Sounds like he wants to go back on IR next time he comes back and plays them.
Oh, man. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, is it acceptable to boo professional athletes who are playing poorly? Situation played out at MSG last night, and it got a little heated between the Knickerbockers and their fans. I'll tell you what I mean when we come back on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate, y'all. Giga says, what's creepier, Mr. Brightside or Every Breath You Take? Every Breath You Take by leaps and bounds. Because Mr. Brightside.
Well, especially when you throw the video in there.
Yeah.
Because the video is kind of creepy, even though it's just them in kind of black and white.
If you don't give Mr. Brightside the credit for this being in his head, that he's actually watching them, he at least leaves. Things like, oh, no. I'm going to watch you do everything.
Although the dude from Mr. Bright, he could be in the closet. We don't know. Just hiding in there with R. Kelly or somebody. I don't know. Whoever did that closet song.
NBA, the Hawks visit the Lakers tonight, 17-20. Atlanta coming off Wednesday's 108-102 in Sacramento. The Lakers have wins in 3 straight. The Hornets host the Bucks on Saturday. Charlotte's 20-19 overall this season. They pounded the Pistons Wednesday 140-111. Big win for the Pelicans last night, an upset over the Golden State Warriors. 101-96 the final. Brandon Ingram with 32 points and 11 rebounds. Classic Rock 101.1 airs Carolina Panthers football every Sunday. Carolina kickoff starts 2 hours before kickoff. That's the Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders on ESPN Upstate.
Have you heard Offsides with Mark Wright?
I just can't sleep. It's killing me. Texter says they're going to start a campaign to shut down WORD. That'll work.
Yeah, you go right and start that campaign.
Now 3 to 7 p.m. on ESPN Upstate. Radio.com is now Odyssey. Download the Odyssey app and listen to ESPN Upstate and all the sports, news, music, and podcasts. We'll make sure you and your people do everything possible to see that it occurs all in one place. It's the Odyssey app for ESPN Upstate. Odyssey is your new home for all the audio that matters to you. Download the Odyssey app today.
You know you can't upload a file if it hasn't saved yet? I don't know if you knew that.
Heard that before.
ESPN.
Darth Chosen tweets at the show. I literally worked at my Spartanburg store today so I could do paperwork and listen to the Rob Brown show. Being in the mountains, I missed hearing his voice inflection.
You know, Darth, there are other methods of listening to the show, even while in the mountains. Download the Odyssey app. You can bring us up on your computer, or you can watch us on Facebook Live or YouTube.
But also, thank you.
Yes.
Also, thank you for changing your day plans to be a part of the show. We're glad to have you. And that's true of every one of you. Welcome, guys. The Rob Brown Show is back on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. I am Rob Brown. He is Lonzo. Last night, the New York Knicks had themselves a game, ladies and gentlemen. And it was interesting because the New York Knicks, RJ Barrett had to lead them over a W. And by the way, against a very decent Philadelphia 76ers team. Julius Randle scored 10 of his 31 in the final 4:46. Knocked down a not the 76ers. What am I talking about? Looking at an old game. The Bulls. The Eastern Conference leading Chicago Bulls. Knocks down a game-winning bank-in three, but it was ugly. Earlier in the game, Julius Randle, who is the face of the Knicks. Earlier in the game, the Knicks were being booed by their fans. They were down 25. They ended up winning 108-105, but a day after saying he doesn't care what other people think about the season he's having, Randle, who is having a miserable first half, as he ran back down court after making a putback basket, and the crowd came unglued, Randle looks up at the crowd and gives them a thumbs down gesture. All right, gives them the old thumbs down. Reminiscent of, remember, Javi Baez for the Mets earlier this year. He did the same thing. The Mets fans were booing them. Baez gets on base, drives in a run to tie up a game. The Mets fans start cheering. Baez gets on first base, look at the stands, and gives them a boo, or gives them a thumbs down. And then after the game was asked about it, and he said, it's kind of messed up that they are booing us for so much of the game, but then when we do a good thing, they cheer. My take at that point was, yes, Javi. Yes, you boo when things go bad and you cheer when things go good. That's how booing and cheering works. We're after the win, 108-105, over the Boston Celtics at home. Julius Randle was asked what the thumbs down towards the fan was for. And Randle said that it was basically because of the cheering, the booing followed by the cheering when things went well. And he said that it was to tell the Knicks fans to, and I quote, shut the bleep up, end quote. When asked if it was in response to something directly, Randle said, you saw that. You saw what was going on with that. Forget, end quote. The Knicks fell way behind. The fans started booing. Randle gives them a thumbs down. He says you saw what was happening and tells the fans to just shut the bleep up, end quote. After the game was over, and this is going to be clip 3A, if you don't mind, Lonzo. Evan Fournier, the former Orlando Magic man turned New York Knick, was doing his press conference, and he was asked about the thumbs down and the comments from Julius Randle, and this was what Evan Fournier had to say.
Jules, getting to know him, he's an emotional guy because he puts so much into what he does. And so he has I did not see what happened, the reaction?
He went like this, which is...
Okay. When the fan booed us? Yeah, so he probably wasn't happy about that. Honestly, no big deal, in my opinion, because, the dude played hard as hell. He fought extremely hard, and he played well. So, when you give everything you have for something and you put so much into something, and it doesn't work out, or you're being called out, sometimes it's frustrating. But it's the business we're in, and Julius is the image of the franchise. He's the star player, so of course he's going to get more criticism, but that comes with it. And I think he understands it. If I remember well, his first year here, he was getting booed, consistently, and then he bounced back and had an incredible season last year. So, that shows a lot of mental toughness. So I'm not worried about Julius at all.
So he says he played well. It's showing mental toughness, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I get where Julius Randle would have been coming from, but Charles Barkley summed it up pretty well. Clip 3. Barks on NBA on TNT responded to the situation by saying this.
I never understand why players think you're supposed to get cheered when you're playing bad. I've never, no, you're going to get booed when you're playing bad.
Even by your home team.
And you're going to get cheered when you win. This notion, it happened in baseball, a kid for the Mets this year.
No, it was Javi Baez and Francisco Lindor,
and I'm like,
Kevin Pillar. Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, you're playing bad. Are they supposed to cheer when you're playing bad?
Or badly? And ownership took note of that, and then here came the apologies from.
But I don't
from a couple
understand
of those
as
players.
a player. This is the way this thing works. We ain't doctors, we ain't lawyers. If you play good, people cheer you. If you play bad, people boo you. That's the deal you make with fans, and that's the deal.
Barks says if you are playing bad, the fans will boo. If you're playing good, they cheer. It's that simple.
It really is that simple.
I agree. It genuinely really is, right? Because I think athletes, they get to this point throughout their lives, they're loved and adored for what they can do, right? I've told the story how many times of the kid that I played high school football with, who went on to be a very, very good college football player at Alabama, and he got away with so much in high school because of how damn talented he was. And it got to the point that with this young man, you couldn't criticize him. You couldn't criticize him because he would take it personally, right? You couldn't. And when I say criticize, I mean, hey man, you're not digging into your cut routes the way you should. You're not sinking your hips the way you need to get the most out of a turn. I watched him walk out of a practice one day because a coach told him to sink his hips when he turned into a route, and he got offended. He got mad at it, right? Because he'd been told how great he was his whole career. I don't blame the kid at all. He was told his whole career how great he was at everything. So to him, criticism felt like an insult when it's not. It's just coaching. The difference at that level and the professional level is that for us as fans, being a fan's not cheap. Especially if you're the type of fan that's going to games. I try to go to as many games as I can go to. But it ain't cheap. Part of the reason I love this job is because I can go to games and cover them, and so I get to go to a game and enjoy it for free. But I like to fly down to New Orleans and go to a Saints game, go to a Pelicans game. When I'm back home, I go to as many college games as I can. When I'm up here, I try to get to different games every week of every sport. And I know that if it wasn't for this job, that would be much easier for me to do, or much more difficult for me to do. It's not cheap. NBA game tickets in a place like Madison Square Garden, you're looking at $150 to get in the door to watch guys play a kids game. $150 to get in the door. If you go to any other venue, right? If you went to a steak restaurant, and you ordered a steak, you ordered a ribeye medium rare, and you got a T-bone that was well done, you'd be like, nope. Mr. Waiter, it's not what I ordered, it's not what I wanted, and it's not cooked the way I wanted. I need you to send it back, and I need you to get me what I asked for. You wouldn't just be okay with it. So, Julius, man, if I pay money to go watch my team play, I'm not saying I expect to see them win every time. That's not how sports work. But damn, I expect to see effort. I expect to see a team try. Now, there are exceptions to this, right? Week 18, a lot of teams are locked into the playoffs already. A lot of teams are locked into their seeding in the playoffs already. If you're already locked into the playoffs, at the end of the day, my expectation is you do what you can to win a championship. So if guys sit this weekend and I spend the money on a ticket, that's on me as a fan. That's on me as a fan. But if I'm the Knicks going to watch the Celtics, I expect to see the Knicks not, suck at basketball against the team that they are every bit as good as.
Knowing how to boo is the right of a New York Knicks fan, because when's the last time they were good? I mean, so you
Patrick
know,
Ewing.
Yeah, it was a really long time ago.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing.
And booing and criticism goes with any form of entertainment, and that's what basketball is. That's what football is. It's entertainment. You're going to get people. Fans are there so they can cheer or so they can boo. I think it's worse to play an arena where you hear nothing, which you've done during COVID. If you're in there in the full crowd and you hear nothing, what's that do?
Yeah, and listen, the thumbs down to the fans that are booing. I'm not even mad about that because you're caught up in the emotion of the game, right? You're caught up in the moment of the game, and games are intense. There's a lot of adrenaline going. Telling them after the game to shut the bleep up. Whoo, joyous. That's how you stop selling jerseys, my guy.
Although, if I'm in the crowd and he just made a basket and he went thumbs down, I'm thinking he's doing that because he just sunk that basket. I'm not thinking that he's going thumbs down on me.
I watched it. It's pretty clear.
Is it?
It's
Okay.
pretty evident. I mean, he's looking right at the Knicks fans when he does it, just like Javi Baez did back during last season.
Oh, show you. Look at this. Ha-ha. Thumbs down on you.
Asked Wednesday whether he was underappreciated and taking too much heat for the team's uneven season. Randall responded, quote, I really don't give a bleep what anybody has to say, to be honest. I'm out there playing. Nobody knows the game out there better than I do compared to what everybody has to say. Here's the thing. This is one thing that's always frustrated me.
He just lied, because if he didn't care, what's the point of doing the thumbs down?
Right. Oh, no, he absolutely cares. One thing that genuinely bugs me is when athletes go, I know the game better than you. Yeah, of course you do. You're a professional athlete. But I don't need to be freaking Dick Vitale to look out and see you sucking against the Boston Celtics. You know what I mean? Like 85% of fans in a building watching a team play are there because they love the game and they love the team. You don't need to be John Wooden to be able to look at a basketball team and go, oh, well, they're not playing very well right now. They're down 25 at the half. That seems bad. That seems not great. Do fans have a right to boo players? I say yes. I have paid my money for a product. I'm not saying I expect to win, but I'm saying I expect the product to be up to snuff. And the Knicks just weren't last night. Like, clearly and obviously just weren't. Till RJ Barrett comes in, banks in a 3 to win the game. Then the Knicks fans came unglued. You see how that works, Julius? In the first half, you were bad, and you were losing by 25 to a 10th seeded Boston Celtics team. And then, in the second half, you played good, and you won the game. And the New York fans gave you a polite golf clap to thank you for your efforts. There's no other business that I don't understand why it is that, like, there's all these special ways of handling sports that aren't the same in other lines of business, right? Like in sports, if a guy moves from one job to another, we're like, boo. In every other business, we're like, good on him for doing better by himself, you know?
I wouldn't go every other business. If someone moves from a certain radio station to a rival radio station, I kind of frown upon that.
You in the industry do.
Yeah, maybe some other people do too.
I mean, maybe there's some hardcore fans, right?
Like the ones that we have here on this program?
Obviously. If I want to cross town to the rival station, they would all follow me there because they love me.
You'd have to buy a closet full of another color. Yes.
Texas says, can Knicks fans actually have an expectation of a good product on the court or winning? I mean, they can. Should they is a better question.
It's very unrealistic, though, if they have those expectations. Just from recent past.
Texas says, we need to normalize booing people in retail and food service. Damn bartender poured my draft with too much foam. Boo! That is true. Sports is also the only business where I'm like, yes, booing a worker is a good plan. I mean, I'm not trying to be a hypocrite here. It is the only business that I go, if that guy doesn't perform to your expectations, boo them loudly. Boo! I'm saying boo effort, not results, right? I'm saying boo effort, not results. If your team loses, your team loses. It's sports. It's going to happen. But if your team is just not trying, and the Knicks most certainly were not in the first half, the Knicks just aren't trying, boom. I spent money to watch this, and I'm straight up not having a good time, bro. Kevin Marshall of FCS Nation joins us next to break down the FCS
The FCS Championship game.
That is exactly what I said.
It's clarifying. I'm not booing you. I could, though.
Boo!
Poor effort on Rob Brown's fault.
Seriously. You may boo me. You may call in just to go on the air and boo.
Hey, you don't give me permission to boo.
Kevin Marshall joins us next to talk FCS Championship game. We'll talk FBS Championship game for the rest of the hour on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
Got time. I mean, you know, if you need to.
For 514 yards and tied for the team lead with 3 touchdowns. NBA, the Hawks visit the Lakers tonight, 17-20 Atlanta coming off Wednesday's 108-102 win at Sacramento. The Lakers have wins in 3 straight. The Hornets host the Bucks on Saturday. Charlotte's 20-19 overall this season. They pounded the Pistons Wednesday 140-111. Big win for the Pelicans last night, an upset over the Golden State Warriors. 101-96 the final. Brandon Ingram with 32 points and 11 rebounds. Classic Rock 101.1 airs Carolina Panthers football every Sunday. Carolina kickoff starts 2 hours before kickoff. That's the Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders on ESPN Upstate.
ESPN Upstate is your home for Furman Paladins men's basketball. Every play, every game on ESPN Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg. On your computer, smart speaker, and phone on the Odyssey app.
I'm Chelsea Messenger, helping you beat the books with BetQL. It's a long shot for the Kansas City Chiefs to clinch the #1 seed. Not only do they have to win, but they also need a Titans loss. But the Chiefs are playing on Saturday, not Sunday, so they can't scoreboard watch. Kansas City has manhandled the Broncos recently, 10-2 against the number, winning by at least 13 and 4 of their last 5 meetings. With a shot at home field advantage, the Chiefs likely won't leave anything to chance on Saturday.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you 24/7, with supplies and solutions for every industry, and access to product specialists ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's going good. How are you today? This is Lonzo. Yeah.
And continually fail to meet FDA requirements for accuracy in label. With new strains of COVID on the rise.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully we can do it again this year.
Accurate temperature measurements are essential. Use estrogen thermometers backed by over.
Yeah, because this year we actually had sports. So, I mean, you know, there's that. Yeah. Yep. All right, we got a minute. Hang on.
This week in Eagle, select sauces and varieties, cheese and crackers, 2 for $6. Select sauces and varieties, dumping bag.
I think the real question is, how many trees did Rob cut down when he was gone
Trying to
during the
reduce my
break?
carbon footprint. I like trees.
I like them too. I liked them in the fireplace last night. I hugged them before I caught them on fire.
Jules in Minneapolis, and Stan in Central Indiana. Taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with experienced branch staff at over 250 locations, so you get the product you're looking for. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome to Allstate, where your savings are always on the right track, and where we still love when those auto rates drop, because when they do, that's some really good energy. Love when the extra savings hit, don't you? Allstate, here, better protection costs a whole lot less. Getting good things at Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today. Allstate
Join the Rob Brown Lockdown on Twitter. Tweet at the Rob Brown.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, to the phone lines we go. To welcome in a young man you have heard on the show many times. We talk a little FCS Championship game with the host of FCS Nation Radio. He is Mr. Kevin Marshall. K, good to have you back on the show, big fella. How we doing?
Nice to be actually in Dallas, man. It was quite the ordeal getting here, but we're here. We have a national championship game tomorrow. It should be a lot of fun.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. And a good one, by the way. And obviously, Kevin, the thing about this championship game that I'm most intrigued by, familiarity breeds competition to me, right? Like you can have two teams that don't know each other at all and have a good game, but when two teams know each other, like these two teams know each other, they played for the 18 championship, the 2019 championship. They played each other in playoff games, etc. Man, these are two squads that know each other very well in North Dakota State, Montana State. What does that mean for this game?
Well, there's a whole lot of question marks, though, because look, the Bobcats, the guy who started at quarterback for them all year, he entered the transfer portal 48 hours before their first playoff game. And a young freshman quarterback named Tommy Millott from Butte, Montana, steps in and sets that offense on fire. I mean, look who they had to go through to get here. The defending national champion from the spring and Sam Houston. Then they beat South Dakota State, who played for the national championship in the spring, to get here. It's been a beautiful run for the Bobcats. And this is an 8-seed team, y'all. Only possible at this level of Division I football. Not 4 teams, 24 teams. And we have an 8-seed versus a 2-seed for all the marbles tomorrow, high noon from Frisco, Texas.
We're talking to Kevin Marshall, host of FCS Nation Radio here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. 2018-2019 playoffs, I mentioned that North Dakota State beat Montana State in both of those games. They didn't beat them. They romped them both times. What is different about Montana State this year that makes this a game, or are we expecting history to repeat itself?
Look, NDSU is not as good as they have been. They're still really good, though. And their quarterback, Cam Miller, was a true freshman in the spring, and he had some growing pains. Well, he's kind of got it together this fall a little bit, but they're gettable. This is not the NDSU team that generally just comes in and steamrolls everybody. Montana State is stout on defense, defensive line and linebacker especially. Number 15 for them, Troy Anderson, will be a Sunday football player, no doubt. They also have Daniel Hardy, who rushes off the edge. He could play at Carolina or Clemson, no doubt in my mind. So could Troy Anderson. So, these are guys on the Montana State defense that are very good. The safeties play very well, too. They close very well. This is going to be a low-scoring game, I think, decided on the ground and in the trenches.
We're talking to Kevin Marshall, host of FCS Nation Radio. You mentioned North Dakota State not being as good as they have been in years past, but I've been kind of checking in on game film here and there, and it looks to me like Montana State is better than they have been in years past, one that could make a strong case in this matchup. What does Montana State need to do specifically to kind of shake the monkey off the back?
Look, NDSU is going to come out and think they can push them around, because in 18 and 19, that's exactly what they did. And it's kind of going to see if they're still the same team that they, pretty much dominated in all three phases in both of those games. So you have to feel like the first 8, 9, 10 minutes of this ball game are extremely important for Montana State, because they're going to have to withstand that first punch. If they do, and they can get off the field on third down and get the ball back to their offense and do something with it, but they can get a lead. I'm not sure North Dakota State, with their offense that they run and Cam Miller back there, is going to be able to come back if they get a couple of scores down. It's not how they operate. So, excuse me, the first few minutes of that game are extremely important for the Bobcats.
So one thing I've said about the Georgia-Alabama National Championship game, Kevin, is that to me, because Alabama is so well-rounded, we saw them put up 400-plus passing yards against Georgia in the SEC championship game. Then we turned around and saw them run for 300 yards against Cincinnati. They can do both. And my thought with Georgia is they've got to be to the point of almost irresponsibly physical with Alabama to keep them from getting into any sort of rhythm. And it looks to me like Montana might need to do the same. The best thing they can do is prevent North Dakota State from ever hitting a rhythm and try to get themselves a few points worth of lead early.
Exactly. And you do that by running the football. And Montana State can do that. They get the running back, Isaiah Nfonse, back, who did not play against the Jackrabbits. That'll be big for them. And that'll give a lot of credence to the play action game, because you have a guy who can take it to the house on any play. Tommy Mellott, the freshman quarterback, he ran it 34 times against South Dakota State. And they don't run the triple option neither. That's a whole lot of carries for a quarterback. Don't think they want to see him do that tomorrow, but he's a factor running the football. They have just got to string together drives, possess the ball, and try to beat NDSU at their own game. I think that the group of the linemen that the Bobcats have matches up about as good as anybody is going to be able to against that bunch of hosses that play at NDSU. If you look up NDSU's offensive line, the Green Bay Packers are not any bigger than NDSU is up front.
I got to tell you, in fact, I was talking about this game earlier this morning with one of our downstairs folks who checks in on the FCS stuff. And, I told him, if you are of the old Nick Saban, I remember a few years back when Nick Saban kind of lamented that FBS ball was rapidly moving towards a pass-centric kind of spread offense style, as opposed to the old, let's just put our heads down and run the ball. If you miss that kind of football, Kevin Marshall, looks like this one might be a damn good one to watch.
It is. It's look, they're just going to be, they're going to whip each other for 4 quarters there. And they're going to look up at the end, and that's what the score is going to be. Both of these teams play extremely hard. Look, that's a bunch of Montana kids, who play for the Bobcats. And, it's a little different out there. I know, because I live there now. They're extremely tough kids, mostly ranch kids. And, they've been looking for a fight their whole life, and they're going to have one tomorrow. That's for sure.
We're looking at the odds right now. Kevin Marshall, host of FCS Nation, which you can hear on ESPN Upstate, chatting with us on the Rob Brown Show. And ESPN Upstate, he is in Dallas for the FCS Championship game between Montana State and North Dakota State. I'm looking at the lines here. Caesars has North Dakota State minus 7.5, and the over-under set at 42, which means it is going to be a very physical game. At least traditionally when we see a number around 40, Kevin Marshall, but minus 7.5 for North Dakota State. There's a little part of me that wants to put a little coin on Montana State to be inside of 7.5. Is that a good play?
I think so. Chris and I, my co-host, we both picked the Bobcats to win the game. So, I think they will. NDSU is not as good as they have been. They're gettable. And I think the Bobcats have a team that's built to compete with and beat NDSU. So, I mean, I'm not a gambling man, but if I was, I mean, I would sprinkle a little bit on the Bobcats money line. I think they have a very good chance to walk away with the hardware from here.
One of the things that jumped out at me, Kevin, when I was looking at these two teams earlier, Montana State have outscored opponents 44-13 on average in the second half of this season so far. And in a lot of those games, they really haven't even been pushed late. If Montana State is, let's say it's a 3-point game either direction, it looks like they're going to be a little bit better off on the scoreline, which says to me that North Dakota State's going to throw everything they got in a little bit more early in the game. Is that the way you see it playing out?
Absolutely. And this is one of those games where it's a hat, a T-shirt, and a ring, right? You get a hat and a T-shirt on the field when you win, and you get a ring a couple of months later for a national championship. I think everybody's playbook is wide open. I mean, what are you saving good plays for? Next fall? I mean, if you can steal a possession, fake a punt, maybe onside kick and steal a possession, I think you're going to see that kind of stuff because these teams are so evenly matched, y'all, that something like that can have a huge difference in who's going to win or lose. Steal a possession, win the game, I think.
Kevin Marsh joining us from FCS Nation Radio. You can follow them on Twitter at FCS Nation Radio 1, a tremendous follow and the only nationally syndicated radio show on the football championship subdivision, which we are happy to have here on ESPN Upstate. Kevin, final score on this game. Give me your long-term prognostication, young man.
Give me the Bobcats, 21-17.
21-17 Bobcats, a bit of an upset according to the Vegas books. I like it. I'm also going to tell you, Kevin, you sent me about 3-4 months ago, right at the beginning of the season, you sent me some pictures of some of the stadiums up there in Montana, and I showed them to the lady friend, and now she has been hitting me for us to take a football FCS weekend trip up to Montana next year. You may have me crashing on your couch sooner rather than later. More importantly, you may be taking me to one of those historic games you've been trying to sell me on, my man.
That'd be outstanding. We'd get you a hat and some boots, and we'll have you out there earning your keep with some cattle. And as long as you behave yourself, you won't have to take a ride to the train station.
We get a Yellowstone reference out of Kevin Marshall. I love it. I will tell you, Kevin, I'll just buy my tickets, but thank you.
Okay.
But thank you.
Fair enough.
Kevin Marshall is the host of FCS Nation Radio. Follow them on Twitter at FCS Nation Radio 1. You can also hear them Saturday mornings right here on ESPN Upstate, talking all things FCS. We got the championship game in Dallas this weekend. Gonna be a good one. Kevin, my man, great to talk to you, buddy. I appreciate your time, fella. We will talk to you on Twitter, big dog.
Always happy to be here. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, got
it. And congratulations on that award again, y'all.
I'll take it. Thank you, Kevin. You're a man. You're a good man. I appreciate it. That's Kevin Marshall, host of FCS Nation Radio. Follow them again on Twitter at FCS Nation Radio 1 and listen to them here on Saturday mornings right here on ESPN Upstate. Let's take a break. When we come back, we dive back head first into Georgia, taking on Alabama. We'll give you a few more tips, tricks, keys to the game for the Dogs in the Tide when we come back on ESPN Upstate.
Do you really want to go through another year with that awful joint pain? Don't do it. Resolve right now to get yourself moving again for 2022. Hey, it's Charlie James. It's time to call QC Kinetics. Non-surgical regenerative treatment for joint pain. We're talking lasting results using biologics. No surgery, no pain meds, no no steroids and no downtime. This is really exciting stuff. Regenerative restorative treatments that actually encourage your body to heal itself using highly concentrated natural biologics. Patients are raving about it for hip pain relief, knee pain relief, shoulder and back pain relief. Don't let them keep giving you steroids, and don't let them tell you surgery is your only option. Get a free second opinion at QC Kinetics. Do it now and imagine life in 2022 without pain. Call the local
Why do I still have my headset on?
864-448-3772. 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772.
So our turnover to Google, is it at the end of the day?
It's at 9 p.m. tonight.
Gotcha. Okay, so yes.
So I will find out in the morning if I'm going to need help Monday. When I go, okay, this doesn't work. Yeah, we'll see. There are a few people like yourself who are prepared, but there are only a few people like yourself who are prepared. So.
There are thousands of dollars worth of new tax credits on the table, and Tax Intuit will help make sure you get every one you deserve. Tax repair.
I was criticized yesterday for my dislike of change, but really it comes down to if you don't have to think very hard about what you're doing, you can do it quickly and be more efficient. And all I care about is being efficient. So I would like it to be 2 months from now when I'm really good at it, so I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Jason Brown is a Virginia Tech Hokie.
Yeah, he announced that yesterday that he was going to do that. He said he was going home, so I'm guessing that's where he's from.
Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Teams that win college bowls have great recruits, and great recruiting starts with great conversations. That's why when you post a job for free, LinkedIn Jobs taps into a network of over 770 million professionals to find the right people for your role. LinkedIn Jobs helps you narrow down to only the most qualified candidates, which means you can start hiring the right people faster. Go to linkedin.com/sports to post your job for free. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi, breaking news with quarterback Lamar Jackson out of fourth straight game with an injured ankle. The Ravens will start Tyler Huntley in Sunday's regular season finale against the Steelers. Both Baltimore and Pittsburgh need a win and some help to get into the playoffs. Cardinals defensive end J.J. Watt's been designated to return from injured reserve a little more than 2 months after having what was expected to be season-ending shoulder surgery. Mavericks coach Jason Kidd has entered NBA health and safety protocols after testing positive for COVID-19. He's the 13th NBA head coach to enter protocols this season. Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo, probable against the Nets tonight, was out the last game with a non-COVID related illness. 7:30 Eastern, ESPN TV, followed by Lakers and Hawks at 10 Eastern. WNBA, Sue Bird announcing she'll return to the Seattle Storm next season.
There's the rest, and then there's the best. You're listening to the best sports talk show in the state.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. Fun facts for those of you that are planning on sprinkling a little coin down on the college football playoff national Championship. In the last 13 seasons, Alonzo, this stat blew me away. In the last 13 seasons, how many times have the Alabama Crimson Tide been the underdog? 13 years. How many times have they been the dog?
Once?
3.
Okay.
3 times have they been the underdog in 13 seasons. That's not the stat that blows me away. Here is. In the 3 games that they have been an underdog on the sports books, Lonzo, they have won every one of those 3 games by at least 17 points. Alabama does not care that they are your underdog. That is the old rat poison that they have talked about so many times.
So if you're Vegas, can you manipulate it to make it look like that they're the underdog just because you know they respond and people are going and you know that they're going to win?
No, I mean, I don't think you do because, again, the point of Vegas is to get 50% of the money to come in on both sides, right? 50% of the money on both sides, which is why most Vegas lines are really good and really tough lines to follow. But 17-point margin of victory in 3 games they have been an underdog in 13 years. That's an unbelievable number. They don't care. And I don't think they should in this one. I honestly, I don't understand. And coming up on Monday's show, we're going to do a round table. I've got some folks that I have worked with in years past covering both Bama and Georgia who are going to join us on the show and do a little round table about the championship game. Alabama doesn't care about being the underdog. Doesn't bother Nick Saban at all. And in fact, it seems like when they are the underdog, and not that we have a huge sample size, it's 3 times in 13 years. Most teams would be killing just to be an underdog 3 times in 1 year. 3 times in 13 years is ridiculous. To win them all by 17 at minimum is ridiculous. The fact that they beat Georgia, not beat Georgia in the SEC championship game, but throttled Georgia in the SEC championship game, I don't understand why this line. I don't understand why this line. Now, it's not necessarily crazy that the team that lost in the first matchup ends up winning in the second matchup. 2012, the LSU Tigers beat Alabama 9-6. In a game that saw the 2 teams each gain less than 300 total yards, 4 turnovers, no touchdowns, 5 field goals. Jordan Jefferson and Jarrett Lee combined to go 9 of 17 for 91 and 2 interceptions. And they won 9-6 over Alabama. Then we got to the national championship game. The Tigers gained 92 total yards, had just 5 first downs, 2 turnovers inside the first 60 minutes of football, and they lost to Alabama 21-0. 1997, Sugar Bowl, Florida State versus Florida. Steve Spurrier won 1 national championship in his Hall of Fame career, and it was the year that he got beat by FSU 24-21 in the regular season. In the Sugar Bowl, the Gators were perfect. 52-20 blew the Noles out in the 1997 Sugar Bowl. Now, there are only, I want to say 5 instances where the actual national championship game was a rematch, maybe 4. But 3 of them were flips the scripts of the first time. 3 of them, the team that won earlier in the year, lost in the rematch for the national championship. So history is on Georgia's side here. History is on Georgia's side. That being said, I don't care. I really don't care. Alabama's offense has not been perfect all year. And as I pointed out yesterday on the show, Georgia is going to have to be criminally aggressive at the line of scrimmage if they want to win this game. And when I say criminally, I mean like literally may need assault charges pressed against them after the game if they want to win this game. They are coming up against an Alabama team that is about as balanced of an offense as I can think of out of a national championship caliber team. Lonzo, off the top of your head, can you think in recent memory of a team that appears to be more balanced at excelling in both the pass and the run than Alabama seems to be right now?
Clemson of a couple years ago.
Fair.
With Etienne and with Trevor Lawrence.
It's fair.
That hurt.
That's fair. Also, they have a Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback. They've got an Ohio State transfer at wide receiver who is lighting it up. Remember, Alabama lost their number one receiver coming into the semifinals. And all old J-Mo's been doing, the transfer number 2 is looking like a stout number 1. Brian Robinson Jr. and company running the ball exceptionally well against Cincinnati. Now, I'm going to say this about Alabama. Here is one place I have a question mark. Alabama ran the ball really well against Cincinnati. Does that change the way they attack this game? Do they come into this game with a run-first mentality? Because they did it against Cincinnati. Because, and Nick Saban knows this. I don't think I'm saying anything that, Nick Saban's going to get caught off guard. I don't think he will. But they came in running the ball against Cincinnati. The Bearcats are not as good across the front as Georgia is. Georgia is bigger, stronger, more physical than Cincinnati. So if Alabama thinks, wow, we ran the ball really easily against the Bearcats, we'll just do that against Georgia. No, you won't. And number 2, and I know I pointed this out like a lot this week, but Cincinnati was running a 3-2 nickel front as their base formation against Alabama. I don't think Kirby Smart and the Dogs are going to be running 3 down linemen and 2 linebackers at Alabama. You're going to be running into the teeth of a 4-3 traditional Southeastern Conference defense. If Nick Saban and Bama come out and they have game plan to run the ball against Georgia, Georgia better be ready for it, but they're good enough to stop it, unlike Cincinnati.
Why wouldn't Alabama come into this game with the same game plan they had a couple of weeks ago when they whooped Georgia? I mean, of course you have some backup plans, and you look and see how they played team since, talking about Georgia, but it worked the first time. Why would you stray?
I would think because.
I mean, I think you come out and you play the same exact way you did, and if they stop it, then you have some changes. But until they stop it, they didn't stop it last time. Why would they stop it now?
The longest tenured coordinator at Alabama so far in Nick Saban's career there is Kirby Smart. He has spent more time studying under Nick Saban than anybody else has during Saban's run at Alabama. Kirby's a smart guy. I don't think you run the same offense at Kirby Smart's defense the second time around. He's going to have some thoughts on it. But the flip side's true too. What Georgia did against Alabama in the SEC championship game cannot, did not, will not work. They cannot do it again. Both of these teams have to retool the game plan because both of them are going up against very, very smart college football coaches who are not going to let them get away with the same stuff they did the first time around. So both of these teams have to have a at least modified game plan. And I wonder, after throwing the ball so exceptionally well against Georgia in the first game, I wonder if after running the ball so well against Cincinnati, if Saban doesn't go, we're going to come out and run the ball 50 times again. If they do, that's to Georgia's benefit. But it is Nick Saban. Quick break. Back after this to wrap up hour 2 on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Now, 279-2827. And now a small business setback. Set to smooth jazz.
It's late. You're driving in the rain with only one thing on your mind. The deer about to total your HVAC van. But with Progressive's 30-plus customizable coverage options, you're covered. The rest is just sex.
Wow, Rick Steiner does not look like Rick Steiner. There's a video someone took of Rick Steiner when Breaker won the championship.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, he doesn't, does he?
Well, of course he's older. I mean, you know.
Interesting to
but-
see the other side of the performance center.
I know. That's wild. Looks very much like a warehouse.
Yep.
Which is exactly what it is, but still.
The picture, Ciampa went over and shook Rick Steiner's hand after Braun beat him.
What Ciampa's contracts like? Of course, it doesn't really matter. He could be released at any moment.
Yeah.
So
Somebody put up a question earlier. Aside from Roman Reigns, what wrestler would you be surprised to see get cut loose by WWE right now? Like who, if it was announced they were cut today, would you be like, wow, I can't believe they did that?
Big E.
The Rob Brown Show wrapping up hour number 2. Coming up in hour number 3 of the broadcast, I got some playoff scenarios for week 18 in the National Football League. Lonzo and I are going to tell you who is in and who is out. Trevor Lawrence has spoken out about the Jacksonville Jaguars fans that plan on dressing up as clowns to protest Shad Khan, Trent Baalke in the front office. And he really seems, I'll give Trevor Lawrence this. He's doing a great job at keeping himself off of ESPN.
We really should have dressed as clowns today for the show. We should have done that.
According to some of the people on the Facebook chat, I did. Thanks, everybody. And there's a potential boxing match coming down the pipe that I'm very intrigued in. And I think you will be too. I'll tell you who it is. It's actual boxing. It's not like celebrity boxing. It's a real boxing match. I hate that boxing's at a point where I have to clarify that. No, it's not Jake Paul, guy who's texting me right now. Stop it. I see you. All that more coming up in the final hour of the Rob Brown Show this week. It's ESPN Upstate.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on ESPN Upstate. College basketball Thursday, App State beat South Alabama 72-64. Troy beat Coastal Carolina 69-59. Radford over South Carolina Upstate 82-77. Clemson receiver Justin Ross made it official Thursday. He's going to give up his final college season to enter the NFL draft. He caught 46 passes this past season for 514 yards and tied for the team lead with 3 touchdowns. NBA, the Hawks visit the Lakers tonight, 17-20 Atlanta coming off Wednesday's 108-102 in Sacramento. The Lakers have wins in 3 straight. The Hornets host the Bucks on Saturday. Charlotte's 20-19 overall this season. They pounded the Pistons Wednesday 140-111. Big win for the Pelicans last night, an upset over the Golden State Warriors. 101-96 the final. Brandon Ingram with 32 points and 11 rebounds. Classic Rock 101.1 airs Carolina Panthers football every Sunday. Carolina kickoff starts 2 hours before kickoff. That's the Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders on ESPN Upstate.
Have you heard Offsides with Mark Wright? Offsides with Mark Ryan. Now 3 to 7 p.m. on ESPN Upstate.
Ryan Radke here from Westwood One with a preview of Sunday Night Football. Week 18 wraps up the regular season in Sin City with a primetime matchup of AFC West playoff contenders, the Las Vegas Raiders and the Los Angeles Chargers. Both are 9-7. The winner will get the final spot in the playoffs. Join Ross Tucker and me for all the action from Las Vegas on Sunday Night Football.
Sunday night at 7:30. The NFL plays here on ESPN Upstate.
Morning. And check this out. For an official Rob Brown Lockdown. Unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show. Yeah. Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
The third, the final, the best, the money hour. The Rob Brown Show goes now. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. It is, as always, tremendous to be with you. I am Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, sitting directly across from me. Texas says, hey, Rob, what about a segment called Rob Brown's Hate List from 2021? Top 5, number 1, Tim Tebow, number 2, number 1, Tim Tebow, number 2, Urban Meyer, number 3, go. Okay.
I would switch to top 2. Yeah.
Tim Tebow doesn't make the list.
Yeah, he didn't.
He doesn't make the list.
There is if you are reading emotion into tone when Tim Tebow is mentioned, there is emotion in your tone.
But it's not about Tim Tebow at all.
It's about the people who, in your opinion, worship Tim Tebow.
Correct.
I get, but still, at the same time,
correct.
It's
I would say
it's because of Tim Tebow.
I would say Urban has a great shot at number 1 on the list.
I would actually put Jacksonville number 1, and then Urban number 2.
I think we can bundle them up in one big ball of garbage. The city and Herb. I have no issue with Tim Tebow. I have an issue with the people who still have this desire to push Tim Tebow as like a revolutionary athlete. He was in college. I'm not doing this again. Number 3 on the list. Who would go number 3? Jacksonville 1 as a place and everything in it. Number 2, I don't even know. I don't really hate anything, Lonzo. You know this about me. I'm a lover, not a fighter, man. I don't know who I'd put on that list. Conor McGregor.
Yeah, there's something towards Conor.
Yeah, McGregor would go on that list. Sure.
Paul brothers.
Jake Paul. Logan Paul. Yeah, Paul brothers go on the list.
So we've got, 4 there so far, right? Or do we have 5 yet?
Tebow butt kissers. McGregor and the Paul brothers. That's 4.
Urban Meyer. You didn't mention him.
Urban goes in with Jacksonville.
Come on. No, they're 2 separate things.
All right, fine. Herb gets his own spot.
Yeah, I mean, they are definitely 2 separate things.
I'll take Jacksonville off because it's not a sports hate list. So I don't hate Jacksonville sports. I just hate everything about the city.
Which would include Jacksonville sports.
Fair enough. Texas says Clemson would be number 3 on the Rob Brown hate list. No, it wouldn't. I don't hate Clemson at all. I've been there twice. I've had a great time. Actually, I've been there 3 times. I've gone to a baseball game. I've gone to a football game.
I wonder if they count my comments as your comments.
I bet they do.
Because it is a show. It's an entity.
Yeah.
So it's an award-winning show and entity, by the way.
I think people think, and I learned this yesterday when I was going through some of the social media feed that we got back to a post that was made. I think people have a belief that is inaccurate, by the way, that any of us have control over the editorial comments of any of the others, and that some outside entity has editorial control over what we say. I'm here to tell you 100% honestly. Not only have I never told there is one thing I have told Lonzo not to bring up on the show.
We do have a new rule, and we're not going to speak of it.
Right. There is one thing, and you won't know what it is because it really hasn't changed anything about the way we do the show.
And I completely agree and understood, and I'm all about that rule. So, yeah.
There is one thing that I have told Lonzo is not going to be brought up on the show. One thing and one thing alone. But outside of that, I have never told Lonzo what to or not say on the show, and I wouldn't dare.
And by the way, if I still wanted to talk about it,
He still would.
I still would, but
Yeah.
I completely agree with it. And out of respect, I will say, I don't want to do that. I'm
and
fine.
I promise you, despite some of y'all's belief to the contrary, I have never received an email from ESPN, whoever that is, saying, we need you to promote blank or stop promoting blank. It's never happened. In the 2 years I've been on the radio here, I have never been given a directive by ESPN, whoever y'all think the great wizard behind the curtain is. Nobody tells us what to say or not say. I don't hate Clemson.
We can't afford a curtain. I mean,
Correct. It'd be like a shower curtain at best.
Where it falls all the time because you got one of those poles that you had to stick up. Yeah.
That you like twist to make them go against the
Yeah,
walls.
and it works really good
for about 10 minutes.
till it gets wet.
Yeah. We've never been told what to say or what not to say. Right? Like at all. I don't hate Clemson. I got news for you. As I've said on past shows, how many times? This job is not always, hey, everything about your school, team, franchise, program is always sunshine and rainbows. You may have that disposition, and of course you do because you're a fan. Sometimes things don't go right for certain teams and organizations, and when things don't go right for certain teams and organizations, I'm going to point them out. It's not hating your team. I like the people over at Clemson.
By the way, I don't. And it's me. It's not Rob, and I don't dislike Clemson.
Yeah,
Clemson,
I think
Clemson as a program has been a very good program. I mean, they've had national championships as far as football goes. They've been they've had a down year, but they're going to be back. My disdain is towards the fans. And then there are, Rob's been called a shock jock before. Shock jocks would find a button that's easily pushed. I do have a button that's easily pushed, and it's an orange button. That's all I'm saying.
If I wanted to be a shock jock, I promise you I could insult Clemson for 3 hours a day. I promise you I could do it. Hey, me. I don't dislike them. Same with South Carolina. I say bad things about them when I need to. I got no issue with them. I've enjoyed my trips to Columbia. I've enjoyed my trips to Clemson. Texas says, what about Kirk Herbstreit? I don't hate Kirk. How many times did I have to say when I was doing those segments earlier this week? Speaking of boomers, I got another one coming up for you today. Our boomer of the week. Kirk has been replaced as boomer of the week. I don't hate Kirk Herbstreit. I like Kirk Herbstreit.
I'm offended by all this boomer stuff, even though I'm not one.
But just don't be a boomer.
Well, don't be anti-old people.
I'm not
Just throw that on there too.
Boomers. There's a difference.
Which still is are there young boomers?
There are young ones who act like boomers.
Okay.
And I will.
So
call
you're
them
saying young people who act like they're old? That's ageism.
Yeah.
You don't like old
No, it's
people.
not. I dislike young people too when they act like old people. Hey, look. When it comes down to it, I dislike very few people. And the ones that I dislike, Lonzo, I think I do a pretty good job of letting you know who I dislike when I dislike them.
Yeah, there's not really any doubt.
No.
There's no wiggle room. Hey, Rob doesn't like them. And the texters also know because they know, who to bring up. Like just an occasional Jake Paul text is wonderful.
Thanks for those. Can we leave those in 2021? All right. Speaking of our boomer of the week, can I get clip number 2, please, Lonzo? This is Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator Dean Pees. P-E-E-S. Yes, that's how his name is spelled and pronounced. We should go Piez and make it like Spanish.
So
2 or 3.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's
Unless I blow it in the last 49 minutes, I've won this week.
Yeah, it's way too much. I was going to say, so it's the act, not the vegetable.
Correct.
Never mind.
Dean Pees.
It would have been funny if I would have turned to Michael.
He was asked about some of the younger guys on coaching staffs around the NFL, guys like Sean McVay, etc. And Dean decided Kirk can't have all the fun by himself in Boomerland today, so let me jump on board.
I think the younger generation of coaches feel a little entitled. Yeah, I think they're spoiled. I think hey, go work in a high school, go work in a Division III school where you got to mow the grass, or you got to line the field, you got to do all those things, and you'll appreciate what you have when you have it, instead of being 25 years old and wondering why I'm not a coordinator already in the NFL. Okay, I went to the NFL at 55 years old. I was a high school coach. I was a Division III coach. I was in the MAC as a coach. I didn't go to New England until I was 55 years old. And so I felt like I paid my dues. And I feel like it made me a better coach, made me a better teacher.
Yeah, you should wait till you're 55 to coach. That's the plan to success. Don't coach it. Back in my day, when we had to walk to the NFL stadium, I was 55 and had to go uphill in the snow both ways with my walker.
How come you sound
have to acknowledge that's dumb, right?
No, well, I've just the voice. You sound like Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off trying to get Sloan Peterson, out of class. I'm just saying. No, his voice, without a doubt. Now he is
Boomer, right?
No, that's
That's
all.
Boomer.
That's everyone's path to where they are is not going to be the same. Some are going to be easier. Some, come from the south side of Columbus. Some are 1%ers. It's
The hell did you just point at me?
It's just because I want your mom to text again. That's why.
DP's is 72 years old. All right.
So if you are that old, let that guy be what let him alone. Let him be an old guy, because he is an old guy. An old guy opinion from an actual old guy.
In a gas station, and the 72-year-old man behind me goes, "Kids these days, they just don't understand how hard it used to be. They just want it." I ignore that guy. All right. I don't need to turn around and go, "Okay, boomer," on the 72-year-old guy in the gas station who's just picking up his Snapple and heading out. You know what I mean? I don't have time for that. That guy doesn't have time for me. But when you are the defensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons and you're out here going, "I took the right path, the path that found me success at 55 years of age." You know what I don't do? I don't go onto YouTube when I see, I think Josh Pate's I don't know how old Josh Pate is. He's probably younger than me, right?
I guess he's in his 30s. So you're saying Dean Pease is an underachiever, and if maybe he worked a little bit harder, it wouldn't have taken him so long to get there. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I bet you Josh Pate's probably 30, right? I bet she's probably 30. You know what I don't do? I don't go to Josh Pate's YouTube channel and go, "I didn't get my first ESPN gig until I was 36. You don't know what it's like to work hard. You're entitled, Josh." I go, "I do busted his ass to build an incredible product that now has tens of thousands of subscribers on YouTube. And he's absolutely killing the game. And he's getting picked up by 24/7 and CBS Sports and making far more money than I do." And I don't go, "He just doesn't get it. He's entitled. He wants it handed to." No. See, here's the thing, Dean Pease. If you think Sean McVay doesn't love football and doesn't have incredible talent, you're an idiot. They did an interview with Sean McVay that's been making its way around social media about a year ago, where they tested Sean McVay's ability to think about and recall football, where a guy, a media member, is interviewing Sean McVay. I'll see if I can find the audio from it because it's absolutely incredible. But a guy's interviewing Sean McVay video, and they're asking him, "All right, 2 years ago, week 12, 49ers at Rams, 3rd and 7, third quarter." And McVay's like, "So-and-so ran an out route, quarterback wrapped around to the right, about a 13-yard completion, took it for another 15, first down, and we had it at the 42 going in." And the guy's like, "That's exactly what happened." And Sean McVay does this 3 times. And not only does he recall the exact plays that are going down and what they were and what each player was doing and what the results of the play were, but he actually then goes, "Yeah, after that, he came over and he told me the cornerback did this. So on the next play, we ran this." It was absolutely unbelievable. Hey, Dean Pease, what if I told you that 30-year-olds can be smart, right? Being 72 doesn't make you smarter than everybody because you've seen more. Sean McVay is a brilliant football mind, and his LA Rams are about to go to the playoffs again. What are your awesome Atlanta Falcons doing, 72-year-old Dean Pease? How'd your Atlanta defense do this year, 72-year-old Dean Pease? Because that young Sean McVay, who is so entitled and didn't earn his job like you, guy who wasn't good enough to get a job until you were 55 freaking years old, he is about to go to the playoffs again. Your ass is sitting at home as soon as you get done with the Saints this weekend. The only entitled people are the guys like Dean Pease who go, we've been around a long time, so we deserve more than Sean McVay. Hey, shut up.
Don't do that. Do not do that. While you're
you were the one singing show tunes earlier.
Oh, no. Excuse me. I'm a lumberjack. It's not a show tune.
Never heard that. Don't know where it's from.
It's from Monty Python.
Really?
Yes.
I know most Monty Python. Wonder why I haven't heard that. Oh, well.
Well, back in my day, everyone knew Monty Python.
We only had 3 channels, and your remote control was your kid.
I was that remote control, and we actually had we did have 4 channels if you count PBS, which some people do.
Texas says, young man, us old guys don't drink Snapple. We drink Geritol.
Yeah, I was curious about the Snapple reference. You just threw that out there so automatic.
I need you guys to know that most of the fake situations I make up for comedy, I make up on the fly in my head.
Yeah, because Snapple is just not something I normally think of. And it's like, ooh, Snapple. Huh. I'm not old enough to drink it. Maybe in a few years.
Dean Pease, just stop. Just stop.
Dean Pease, you just made the list. Rob Brown's list.
The list of Rob. These young coaches, they're entitled. No, they didn't. They earned their job. I don't know if you know this, Dean. Oh, you do know this, Dean, because you didn't get your first NFL job until you were 55. They don't just hand out NFL jobs to people who go, I feel like I deserve one.
In case someone missed it,
Matt Rule.
Who's he coach for again?
The at-home third in the division Atlanta Falcons.
Okay.
Yeah, the team that's not the playoffs, while young Matt Rules is. And Cliff Kingsbury's team is.
Why are they even interviewing this guy?
I don't know. I honestly don't even know where this media came from. I just heard it on my prep sheet this morning, and I'm like, screw that guy. I hate that take so much. You guys want to know why it is that the younger generation dislikes the older generation so much? It's because you crap on them constantly. This is like the third dude this week that's been like, young people suck and they're entitled. Yeah, well, Cliff Kingsbury and Sean McVay are kicking your ass, Dean Pease. What are you doing?
All I know is if you're patient, and I know a lot of you are, if you wait another year or so, as Rob's hair gets a little bit grayer and he gets a little bit older, suddenly he's going to become that guy.
No. As I just pointed out.
You are already that guy for somebody else.
They don't crap on the next generation. You know what I do? I call Rashad Beard and Savannah Lee, and I go, you guys are making a name for yourselves. And by the way, in a medium that didn't exist when I was at their age. The medium didn't exist when I was there. And I don't get mad at them for it.
You mean back in your day?
Back in my day. You didn't get famous on YouTube in my day, but Rashad and David Rhodes are figuring it out and killing the game with the Panther Nation podcast. So you know what I do? I don't go, these young YouTubers, they're so entitled. I had to wait until I was 36 to get my first ESPN radio job.
This is not.
You guys are kicking ass. Would you like to come on my show and help me?
This is not cracking on you. I know it seems that way. So what you're saying is you surrounded yourself with youthful, hip people.
Yes, that's why I dress like this. So they go, oh, this guy still gets it.
Is there such thing as a lumberjack boy band? Because I want to see that.
Taking a break. Shut up, Dean Pease. Nobody likes you. Texas says, better have that old guy behind you in line than complaining about young people in front of you buying the lottery. If you buy lottery tickets, go to the back of the line And if you buy lottery tickets, don't walk up there and look at every scratch-off ticket and go, what number is that one? 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 What number is that one?
So now you don't like old people or people with poor eyesight.
What number is that one? What number is that? I just want to buy a Coke. What number is that one? Okay, I'll take one of those. Is that all? No. What number is that one? 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 What number is that one?
I can turn your mic off. I absolutely can do that.
What number is that one? What number is that one? Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
I guess I don't go anywhere where they sell lottery tickets.
You don't go to gas stations?
I mean, I'm not opposed to lottery tickets. I just haven't been in that situation before. Don't a lot of those places, well, again, I don't know. In Ohio, there was like a separate place for lottery tickets inside of a gas station. So
NBA, the Hawks visit the Lakers tonight, 17-20 Atlanta coming off Wednesday's 108-102 win in Sacramento. The Lakers have wins in 3 straight. The Hornets host the Bucks on Saturday. Charlotte's 20-19 overall this season. They pounded the Pistons Wednesday 140-111. Big win for the Pelicans last night, an upset over the Golden State Warriors. 101-96 to final. Brandon Ingram with 32 points and 11 rebounds. Classic Rock 101.1 airs Carolina Panthers football every Sunday. Carolina kickoff starts 2 hours before kickoff. That's the Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders on ESPN Upstate.
ESPN Upstate is your home for the 2022.
I don't go to those places to get gas because I try to go to the same place every week. To the point where I don't want to go anywhere else because I'm comfortable with that place. I like
Give your
that.
own gas station?
I mean, it's on my way. And, you know, I don't smell the same when I come out of there, but that's fine. They also have no idea who I am, which is even better.
So when I was home for Christmas, my brother and I have a Christmas Eve tradition. There is a super dive bar around the corner from where he lives called the Azalea Lounge. And what they do is they open on Christmas Eve and they offer bartenders anywhere in the city that want to work to make extra money Christmas Eve. They don't have any of their employees come in unless they want to. They're like, basically any bartender who wants to work tonight, come on in, we'll let you work if you want to make some extra cash. And they leave it open for people who are, by themselves on Christmas Eve to have a place to go to spend time with people on Christmas Eve. So my brother and I go every year and we have a couple of drinks and we tip a ton of money to the bartender for Christmas and all that. So anyway, we're shooting pool. And there's another couple shooting pool on the other side of the pool table. And there's 2 more young ladies sitting on the wall. And the lady says very loudly over the sound of the music and everybody playing pool, she goes, yeah, he's one of my favorite gas station attendants. And this is not speaking ill of gas station attendants because that job sucks. I'm sure I've seen people acting a fool in gas stations. But I thought to myself, 1, what does a particular gas station attendant do to become your favorite gas station attendant? And 2, who has multiple favorite gas station attendants?
That's a good question. That's I don't know. Maybe you go to the same place like I do every week and one person treats you really well and a couple other employees don't.
Just super nice.
Was that gas station attendant actually in the bar at the time?
No,
okay,
they were just talking about it.
Didn't know if there was pointing involved. This is my favorite gas station attendant. Oh, thank you for pointing out that that's where I work. I appreciate that. I did get recognized at that gas station one time by I think it was a Pepsi vendor who followed me to my car.
Okay, that sentence can mean one of two very
He's
different.
like, hey, are you Lonzo?
Oh.
Yeah, yes, I am. I'm late for work. Leave me alone.
Text says, Rob, what number is Dean Peace on the list now?
Yeah, because I mean, there was some anger involved. He's number 2.
2.
Now he's just gonna lump all old people into one category.
Texter says, kudos for the Monty Python reference. Alonzo, Rob, you absolutely have the right idea on embracing the young talent. Surround yourself with finishers. Yeah, I'm perfectly fine if the Atlanta Falcons want to hire a bunch of 72-year-old men to be their coaches. Absolutely.
But
I want to keep hiring young talent.
I want to make sure that they know that I wasn't criticizing that. I think that's great. I think it's awesome what you do. I mean, I wasn't being critical of that. Just pointing out that, that you're getting older just a little bit.
Again, that's why I dress like this. Hang on to that youth desperately.
This is from the oldest guy on the station. So, I mean.
Also true.
Yeah, that's me. I'm a grandpa. So, I know.
I am not.
Or those that are soon to be.
I just looked up
one
Dean
of us.
Peace.
Yeah.
Dean Peace looks like the guy that would be ranting about the youth in the gas station. Tell me that guy isn't just standing in the back of the gas station, silently judging teenagers for having the audacity to have fountain drinks available when Dean used to walk down to the creek to get his own water.
That's the coach who made me run 100 extra wind sprints for being 5 minutes late.
Yeah.
That's that guy.
No, not 5 minutes late. You were on time, but that's 5 minutes late to him.
It wasn't on his time.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. All right, 844-477-3776, 844-GSP-ESPN. I want to remind you that on Monday evening, coming up on Monday, obviously Monday's entire show is National Championship. We're going to be talking Georgia, Alabama, start to finish, top to bottom. And we are going to have guests in from Alabama and Georgia to talk about the championship game. We'll be taking your predictions and prognostications and whatnot. So make sure you tune in on Monday and keep in mind, we are your home for play-by-play coverage of the national championship game. We are the only radio station in the upstate that will be carrying Monday night's national championship game. So you can tune in early, hear all the pregame, listen to the game. So if you're out there, you got to work late at night, you're driving trucks up and down the highway, ESPN Upstate will be carrying that national championship game for you on our airwaves.
Speaking of pregame, just start at noon and go all the way through Offsides with Mark Ryan into that pregame. You're going to get a ton of national championship game content.
It's going to be great stuff. So make sure you tune into ESPN Upstate on Monday as we bring you all the pregame coverage live from the Ingles Market studio that you can handle. And of course, we are your home for the NFL playoffs as well. From first round to the Super Bowl, we will be carrying you play-by-play of the games that impact the NFL right here on ESPN Upstate. So make sure you stay tuned. Speaking of the National Football League playoffs, let's run through a couple of potential scenarios. Week 18 coming up starts Saturday. Lonzo's Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Denver Broncos. Broncos down to their, I think 4-string quarterback now. So the Chiefs have a little bit easier road than we would have thought, but it is absolutely a must-win for the Kansas City Chiefs, as the only way for them to get the 1 seed back is for Kansas City to win against Denver, and they need Tennessee to lose on the road at Houston. Already asking a lot of the Texans, got to make sure that you have a win. Do the Chiefs over the Broncos. This one is at Mile High.
So what do you do if you're up like 20 points going into the second half?
You go win the game.
What I'm saying is, do you bench some of your starters?
No, you go win the game. You go
even though there's a potential for injury and things like that. Okay.
You risk it, you go win the game, because the last thing you need is a Week 18, let's send Denver off into the postseason or into the offseason with a miraculous comeback against the Chiefs to knock that. Denver has nothing to play for here except ruining your season to the best of their ability, which guaranteeing you the 2 seed is the best they can do. You play until you're up by about 35. Now, if you're in a halftime, it's 35-0. I might take a rest at that point. But no, I'm bringing the boys all game long. Cincinnati, well, I'm not going to read you off the schedule. Let's just look at the playoff picture. In the NFC, 6 teams have already clinched playoff berths. They are Green Bay at the 1 seed, the Eagles, Rams, 49ers, or excuse me, not 49ers, the Packers, the Rams, the Bucks, the Cowboys, the Cardinals, and the Eagles have all clinched playoff spots. There is 1 berth remaining on the line, and that's going to come down to San Francisco and New Orleans this weekend. San Francisco will get in with either a W in their final game. The San Francisco 49ers are at LA. San Francisco gets in with either a win or a Saints loss against Atlanta, and they wrap up the 7 seed. The Saints get in with a win over the Falcons and a 49ers loss. So the 49ers only need one of the 2 games to go their way. Either they win or the Saints lose. The Saints need both games. They need the Rams to beat the Niners, and they must beat Atlanta. Once they do, that 7 seed is going to be claimed by either San Francisco or New Orleans.
Will a victory for the Rams affect their seeding in any way?
The Rams will clinch the NFC West with a win, so it would give them first round. If the Rams lose and the Cardinals win, then the Cardinals will take the NFC West and the Rams become a wild card team. The Cardinals clinch the NFC West with a win and a Rams loss. So basically it comes down to LA. LA beats San Francisco, they win the division. If LA loses to San Francisco and the Cardinals lose, the Rams get it. If the Cardinals win and the Rams lose, then Arizona claims the NFC West. Over in the AFC, as it stands right now, 5 teams have clinched the playoff. 2 teams will punch their ticket this weekend. Right now, we know Tennessee, Kansas City, Cincinnati, Buffalo, and New England are in. The Ravens will clinch a playoff spot with, and remember, the difference is and or. The Ravens clinch with a win, a Colts loss, and a Chargers loss, and a Dolphins loss. Long shot for the Baltimore Ravens.
And Lamar Jackson is not playing.
Yeah. The Colts clinch one of the 2 available playoff spots very simply by winning. If the Colts do not win, they will need a Steeler loss and Charger loss and Dolphins win in order to get in. The Raiders clinch with a win or a tie and a Colts loss, or a Colts loss and Steelers loss. The LA Chargers will clinch a playoff spot with a win or a tie. The Steelers, technically still in contention, they would get in with a win and a Colts loss and a Charger Raiders game that does not end in a tie. They can have any result except a tie. The Raiders and the Chargers, by the way, if the Colts, this is the situation we talked about earlier in the week, Lonzo. If the Colts lose to Jacksonville, the Raiders and the Chargers can both get in with a tie, and they're playing each other. I want a 60 minutes of kneeling.
Yeah, I've heard this talked about after we were joking about it earlier in the week. I've heard this talked about on some of the national shows, and some of the coaches have been approached about would they be willing to do that.
They all say no.
And then, well, even if we agree to it, we can't guarantee the other team would agree to it.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
It's the old what's it called? The prisoner's dilemma. You ever heard of the prisoner's dilemma? It's an old thought game. Prisoner A and prisoner. I'm not going to explain it to you. Just go Wikipedia, the prisoner's dilemma, because that's basically what this is. If both of them agree to tie, all it takes is one of them to, kick a field goal at the end and win and knock the other one out of the playoffs. It won't happen. Be hilarious if it did. But there's playoff bursts. So out of the NFC, Lonzo, Saints get in with a win and a 49ers loss. 49ers get in with a win or a Saints loss. Who's going between San Francisco and New Orleans?
San Francisco.
Yeah, you're right. I agree. That being said, it's like 50-50 to me, and here's why. If the Rams had already clinched the division, it's definitely San Francisco. But LA wants that home field advantage in the first round by way of being a division winner and maybe the second round as well. San Francisco is going to be up against a game LA team, right? a game LA team that has something on the line. I'd feel much better about the San Francisco pick. I'd feel much better about the San Francisco pick if LA had already clinched the division or could not clinch the division, and this was a wild card spot game. But I think I'm going to change my pick. I think it's New Orleans. The more I think about it. LA is playing for the division. San Francisco is playing for a playoff spot. LA's better than San Francisco, I think. And New Orleans is playing Atlanta. New Orleans, even last week, they missed 22 players 2 weeks ago in a loss to Miami that would have changed this perspective. They got most of them back for Carolina. Tough game against the Panthers this past weekend at home. They got to go to Atlanta, but they get the majority of those players back this week, so it's going to be the closest to the full strength that the Saints have been since they knocked off Tampa Bay in Tampa a few weeks ago. The Saints are, if I remember off the top of my head correctly, in their last 17 divisional games, Lonzo, they're 14-3. They have been really good in division. Even during the 2 Brady years, they are undefeated in the regular season against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. They are, I think they've only given 1 to Atlanta in the past 5 years or 4 years. The Saints are good in Atlanta, or at least they win in Atlanta. I think New Orleans creeps into the 7th spot. It won't matter. They're going to get bounced in the first round by the 2 seed, but I think New Orleans gets in.
Here's the problem. You're leaving out the X factor for the Atlanta Falcons, and that is Dean Pease. And he is not happy this week.
I didn't even think about that.
And he's
right.
going to show those whippersnappers what for, and Atlanta's going to upset New Orleans. I'm sorry, but I think you are the person.
Isn't it upset? They're both 8-win.
Well, I think you are the person that's going to tip it one way or the other, because Dean Pease is a big listener to this program, or he was.
He was.
He was.
May not be after the first segment. I'm going to count that as one.
Absolutely counts. You turn your mic off.
My own mic. He absolutely is going to now.
You were just trying to stop the dribble, but you should have just let it go. I mean, who's going to notice? It looks right in the lumberjack gear.
Over in the AFC, we got the Raiders, the Colts, the Ravens, the Chargers, and the Steelers all looking to get in. The Ravens need a lot of help. I'm pretty sure we can. Oh, by the way, Cam Akers dressing to play this weekend for the Rams. So they just got better than they already were. They got Coop. They got Cam Akers back. They're going to be good. Raiders clinch with a win. Chargers clinch with a win. Steelers clinch with a win in the final round. We have got games, obviously, between the 2 of those. The Steelers and the Ravens play each other. They are in that picture. The Raiders are, where'd my schedule go?
The Raiders are playing the Chargers.
You are correct. That is the Sunday night game, Raiders Chargers, and it looks like the winner of that game is probably getting in. Raiders or Chargers win, and they both go unless the Colts lose to Jacksonville, in which case they could tie and both go in. I doubt that's going to happen though. The Steelers would get in with a win and a Colts loss and a Chargers-Raiders game that doesn't end in a tie. I am going to go the Colts get in over the Jags, and I'm going to take the Chargers. I'm going to take the Chargers in the Sunday night game. That one is at Las Vegas, though, but Las Vegas hasn't been a particularly strong home team. Give me Justin Herbert to make it into the playoffs. I'll take the Colts and the Chargers to lock up the final 2 seeds.
Yeah, I agree with you on both of those, especially the Chargers, because everyone in the West, they don't like each other, but the Chargers and the Raiders, I'm going to go with who I think the better quarterback is, and that's Herbert.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I like Derek Carr. I think Carr's done a good job in a tough spot, but absolutely give me the Chargers. So there's your playoff spots. It's predicted by me and Lonzo. Let's take a break. We'll come back, short segment, and then Twitter to wrap up the week on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news, the Ravens will be without quarterback Lamar Jackson, a 4th straight game Sunday against the Steelers. He's still sidelined by an ankle injury. Tyler Huntley starts his play.
Lonzo.
Need a win and some help this final weekend of the regular season to get into the playoffs. Cardinals defensive end J.J. Watt designated to return from injured reserve.
David, stick around. I will address this claim when we come back on the air here in a minute.
ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reporting Buccaneers offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich interviewing for the Jaguars head coaching job today. Dallas's Jason Kidd is the 13th NBA head coach to enter league health and safety protocols this season after testing positive for the coronavirus. Buck star Giannis Antetokounmpo, probable against the Nets tonight, missed the last game with a non-COVID related illness. 7:30 Eastern, ESPN TV, followed by Hawks and Lakers at 10 Eastern.
From the Ingles Market Studio, this is ESPN Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg. ESPN Upstate.
An Odyssey station.
Borderlands Comics and Games, proud sponsor of the Upstate Pulse, has been Upstate South Carolina's leader in comics and games for over 30 years. Borderlands has over 300,000 comics, graphic novels, and games. They also have the biggest variety of toys and collectibles around. And now, they're your Pokemon headquarters. Borderlands Comics and Games, 1434 Lawrence Road. Check them out on Instagram and Facebook.
Here are the rules. No staring at your phone, no rolling in 2 hours late, no sweatpants, no jeans, and no shorts.
For complete rules on contests, go to espnupstate.com/rules.
I love my hardwood floors, but I wasn't sure how to take care of them. Carrying around the bucket was such a hassle. And even worse, my string mop left streaks and haze behind. Then I found Swiffer Wet Jet Wood, the all-in-one tool made specially for wood floors. Its microfiber-like pad is soft, and it sprays a light mist solution that dries fast. With Swiffer Wet Jet Wood, it's easy to keep up with the mess on my wood floors. Even that mess.
Swiffer Wet Jet Wood, proud member of the National Wood Floor Association.
Everyone loves shopping online. Well, I'm going to tell you what I tell my golf buddies when they buy clubs. Stop searching for coupon codes. Download Capital One Shopping to your computer. Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies them at checkout. Plus, it's free. And you don't even need a Capital One card to use it. That's like hitting a hole in one without even trying. Capital One Shop. It's kind of genius. What's in your
You're going for another one?
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate.
Coach called upon me. I don't know why.
I'm a speed bump.
The last guy on the bench. Filling up bricks.
Building a house.
A couple steps back. Still missed. Thoughts are ready to throw it as hard as I can. That's not what I did.
Get help managing your money for the life and years ahead with Fidelity Income Planning. We'll look at what you
Wouldn't want another HR violation.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Ready for an oil change? We can help get the right protection at the right price. Right now, you can get passports and
So I put up my new clock,
And
and the no, it's good. It's secure, but the remote won't sync with it. So the LED does nothing but blink.
That's frustrating.
Oh, it's annoying. And as a result, I can't read the clock because it's blinking the entire time, so I can't see the clock. I mean, it's a manual clock or regular clock, whatever you want to call it. But so I may end up having to take it down and move it somewhere else because it's just not working right. I don't know why the thing won't sync. You gotta hold two buttons and do, but it's like just work when it turns on. QC in the next break.
Okay. On the Facebook stream, David Williams just said of the national championship game, quote, no one outside of Bama or Georgia will watch just a replay of subpar education conference championship. I will take a stab at this, though, and say Georgia-Alabama is the third most watched championship game of all time.
No way. No way. I agree with David. If it weren't for needing to watch it for work, I probably would just have it on in the background because it's like watching a rerun. We've already seen this. We all know what the result's going to be. It's just I wanted to see somebody else in there.
We all did, right? I think America's dream matchup was Cincinnati, Michigan in the championship game. It's not what we got. We got the exact opposite. This is one of those things that people love to say they're not going to watch.
Yeah, but from a marketing standpoint, it's got to be hard to market this because if you can go, the SEC championship probably is still playing on rerun somewhere.
I think it's hard to market at all. You market as the two best teams in the country by an obvious leap have already gotten it together once. In almost every rematch national championship game, the team that lost the first won the second. And these are two of, if not the two most physical teams in all of football this year. If you like college football, this is a game. I agree. I think Alabama's going to end up walking out of there with the title, but it's still going to be a game.
Here's how I wish they would market it. This is your last time to see the 4-team playoff. So watch this championship because coming next year, it's an 8-team championship where anything can happen. So you need to watch this because this is the last one of its kind. It's not, but,
We're going to 12, but that's like 4 years away.
12, whatever.
That's like 4 years away. We're not getting anytime soon.
They could fast track it. They absolutely could.
I don't think it's going to be the most watched championship of all time. I bet it'll be in the top 4. I bet it'll be inside the top 4. I think this is one of those things that everybody says, I'm not watching.
You know what I wish? You know what I wish? I wish it was a Monday Night Football game for the NFL. And I know they won't do that. They're smart about that because I'd be curious to see which one would get the more views. I want to see a national championship game, but I just feel like I already know. Yes.
Yeah.
But I have to.
Here's the thing. All of us can go, we know what's going to happen. We know how it's going to happen. We know why it's going to happen. We're still going to watch it happen.
I'm going to watch it tentatively for the first half, and then if things go the way I think they will, then it will become background.
Sure. But you're still going to watch it.
Yes.
Before we take a break, I want to remind you guys that the BetQL Giving Props competition is going to start on January 12th. That's next Wednesday. Every week of the NFL playoffs, BetQL is going to put up 10 prop bets. The person who selects the most correct winners will win $2,000 every week. BetQL helps you make smarter bets throughout the football season, and now they're giving you the chance to win cash prizes with their BetQL Giving Props competition, a free-to-play contest. Again, it starts on Wednesday. It's very simple. Every week they post 10 props. The person with the most correct wins $2,000. And just by signing up, you'll be automatically entered into a random grand prize drawing for $10,000. Go to betql.com/props to sign up. That's betql.com/props. And you can start making your picks next Wednesday. When Zoe and I come back, we wrap up the week with Twitter trending topics on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate. Tell you about my friends at QC Kinetics. Joint pain is bad enough, right? And you know when it's coming. And because you know that you have that joint pain and you know what triggers that joint pain, the only thing that is really even close to the joint pain is the fear of the joint pain. The fact that you have to start changing your life because of the joint pain. Maybe you don't play as much golf as you like. Your grandkid asks you to pick them up and you're like, maybe next time, killer. Right? Because you know your back and your hips are going to hurt the next day. Well, if you want to get rid of that and get back to the point where you don't have to change your life because of joint pain, you need to call my friends at QC Kinetics. Check out their website at qckinetics.com, qckinetics.com. And when you do, you are going to see their non-surgical regenerative therapy. That's right. You don't get cut. You don't get sliced and diced. No drugs, no steroids, no downtime. You go in, you meet Dr. Richard Schaefer, MD. He walks you through the therapy, you get it, you're back to your day-to-day life the same day. And once that joint pain starts to go away, because that natural connective tissue starts to repair, regenerate, reheal itself, you can get back to the life that you want to live. Give them a call right now at 864-448-3772. 864-448-3772. Mention the Rob Brown Show. Get that first consultation for free with our friends at QC Kinetics.
Mostly sunny skies this afternoon, high 44. Tonight, mostly clear, low near 24. By Saturday, sunshine, high 43 degrees. Sunday, a chance for rain showers, cloudy, high 52. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on ESPN Upstate. Currently, it's 43.
Radio.com is now Odyssey. Download the Odyssey app and listen to ESPN Upstate and all the sports, news, music, and podcasts.
You make sure you and your people do everything possible to see that it is
all in one place. It's the Odyssey app for ESPN Upstate. Odyssey is your new home for all the audio that matters to you. Download the Odyssey app today. Get all the sports you love. Baseball, get more back to normal. And listen to ESPN Upstate.
It's out with the old and in with the new. Windows, that is. Hey, it's Don with American-made windows. If you don't want to go through another year with those leaky, drafty old clunkers, listen to this. For a limited time, we're offering $50 off per window when you buy and we install 5 or more, or get 12 months same as cash with approved credit. Visit amwupstate.com or call 334-6030, 334-6030. And remember, the best windows are American-made.
Hey, Carrie, we need that tax report by tomorrow. Hey, Bobby, give me that expenses.
For Hari's accounting firm, client growth is exponential.
For a couple of accounts, sure.
He needs whip-smart accountants at whiplash speed.
Hey, so why aren't these receivables matching up?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job.
I think Steph has his binky under his mask.
Such a hater.
Maybe it's built into the mask.
And Maria in Miami, Jules in Minneapolis, and Stan in Central Indiana, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with experienced branch staff at over 250 locations, so you get the product you're looking for. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Today's pros need today's tools, and nobody understands that better than the Home Depot. Our app makes it simpler to get supplies ordered and delivered.
It's like Beamer made the not top plays. We're getting beamed in the head.
We're getting mayoed to the dome.
That's how today's pros get more done. New tech, new tools, old-fashioned hard work. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
I'm Pablo Torre, host of ESPN Day, where every morning we present the best sports.
So the Pelicans beat the Warriors last night.
I know.
And a Twitter account put up the tweet, "How did the Warriors lose to the Pelicans?" And the Pelicans responded with, "Thank you for asking. We scored 101 points and they scored 96 points, giving us the win." That was the whole tweet. A Golden State profile with the name Gohan97747603 responded with, "You got lucky." And the Pelicans responded, "You have too many characters in your Twitter handle."
All right, time for Twitter trending topics. We were just discussing Twitter on the stream. You should check it out, ESPN Upstate on Facebook, and wave to the lumberjack. All right, the first thing that's trending is Triple H.
Triple H has been trending for like 3 straight days now, and it is because
or Triple H.
Triple H. It's a combination of 2 different things from what I can tell, unless there's breaking news. But it's been trending. I think it was trending yesterday too. Triple H is trending right now for 2 reasons that I've been able to tell from looking at it and wondering, is he in trouble? Number one, it is people wondering if Triple H is going to be on the good luck in your future endeavors list in the near future. And the other is I see a ton of WWE fans expressing their gratitude for Triple H and the Black and Gold NXT brand, because Black and Gold NXT was some of the best wrestling production we have gotten in years, and we had some great talent come out of it. And now that Vince and Nick Khan have decided that they just need to gut the company for reasons. I'm still under the impression, Lonzo, WWE is getting sold like soon, like in the next year or two, it's getting sold. And they're just trying to do whatever they can to get as much debt off the books as they can to make it look profitable as they can. But basically, it's WWE fans coming out and saying, thanks, Triple H, for trying to salvage this company before Vince ran you out again.
All right. Sometimes when something is trending, it's hard to narrow it down to one thing. So I narrowed it down to three things. The reason why Triple H is
You're smarter than
Triple
me.
H is trending. One is there are pictures and reports that he's back at NXT meetings.
Oh.
Two is a bunch of memes and pictures showing him showing up at NXT to an empty building. There are all kinds of things. There's a thing of Will Smith at the end of Fresh Prince when the house is empty.
Yeah.
And then the third thing, the reason why that I've narrowed it down to is a lot of people are saying Triple H should buy ROH
And just make it NXT Black and Gold 2.0.
and beat everybody.
I doubt Triple H is going to have the resources for that, right? Like the thing that made AEW successful is that their founder is a billionaire. So they got plenty of capital to burn through for a couple of years while they find footing against WWE. The reason WWE can squash everybody who's not AEW is for the exact same reason. Triple H has done really well in his career, but the dude's not threatening a bill. So I doubt he's got the resources for that.
Unless he can bring it, his wife with him.
Right. Unless but you think Stephanie's walking on Vince right now? Probably not.
If they're selling the company, she might.
Maybe. I think you'd be better off if you're Triple H to get future endeavored and then go work for ROH and just go, I'm going to do for ROH what I did at NXT if you guys will let me, and it will become successful.
All right. Time for one more. Sidney Poitier is trending.
Saw that. Sidney Poitier passing away earlier. And, the dude he was a actor, director. I mean, did a little bit of everything. And was an absolute institution. But what a lot of people don't know about this, I learned this morning, I didn't know about it either, is that through his work, Poirier was actually one of the main reasons that there's not colonial rule in the Caribbean anymore. He's from the Bahamas, and it was still a British colony when he was born. He did a lot of work in his native Bahamas to end British colonialism, and a lot of other colonies in the area kind of followed suit. So R.I.P. Sidney Poitier, one of the greats. All right, that's it for us, ladies and gentlemen. The week is over. We'll be back on Monday. It's wall-to-wall college football national championship game. You know how we do. Follow us on Twitter during the weekend because I'll do a bunch of breakdowns. Have a great weekend. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you square in the face. For Lonzo, I'm Rob. This is the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. Later, brother. Thanks, stream. See you Monday. Have a great weekend. Love you, mean it. Bye.